offering 48 months interest-free financing on your next outdoor project. Chesterfield Fence and Deck, chesterfieldfence.com. Next update at 5:20 from the Michaels Flooring Outlet.com Traffic Center.
News, traffic, and the latest on the Redbirds. This is the Redbird Rush Hour on KMOX.
All right, welcome into the Redbird Rush Hour on a Monday. We got a full show today because the game is in Seattle tonight. Sorry, Matt.
Oh, it's going to be a late night.
8:40 start time tonight, 7:45 for the pregame. Obviously, interesting series. Seattle is, well, I don't know. We'll get into this as we go, guys. But first of all, Bernie Miklasz, Matt Pauley, Kevin Wheeler with you. Hello, boys.
Hello.
How about we'll get to Seattle here in a second and the interesting things that are coming on this week because Seattle and Milwaukee should make for an interesting road trip this week. But I wanted to start with just the fact that the Cardinals have actually been on a nice little run. 7 of 10, 3 straight series wins, even shorthanded. And look, it's consolation prize at this point, but it's still nice to see.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. You know, and as I wrote something a little while ago. It's not up yet, but I was saying, hey, I'm a realist. I mean, I'm not sitting here, inflating the party balloons or putting one of those cone hats on. They have a 500 record, but they've had to fight really hard to get there, and they've had to overcome a lot of obstacles. And I kind of thought by now there was a great chance they would have checked out just in terms of competing, but they've done the exact opposite. So, I think it's perfectly fine to respect a team that continues to battle and compete. The players don't set the roster.
Right.
The players don't manage the team. These guys show up and play, and they want to finish strong. And I definitely appreciate that.
I tweeted these numbers out last night. The last 2 series have been really interesting because against the A's, they're outscored 13-10 over the series, and they win 2 of 3. Against the Giants, they're outscored 13-9. They win 2 of 3. So they win 4 of 6. They win 2 back-to-back series. They are outscored in those series 26-19. So it just gets something that I keep harping on it over and over and over. This team, that's a sign of a team that is outmatched talent-wise, that's finding ways to win games. Mm-hmm. And admittedly, they stole one of those games. That second game of the Giants series, they really didn't have any business winning that game, but give them credit. They put up a little rally there in the 9th inning, and by the Giants leaving them in it, they allowed that to happen. And with that, all of a sudden, you have a 4-2 homestand.
Pretty impressive.
Yeah, and I think we talked about it on Dave Glover's show earlier today.
Yeah.
This is second year in a row where the Cardinals have had a negative run differential, and you don't see teams overcome that very often. It happens from time to time. But because of Ollie Marmol and Dusty Blake, they do, and I don't care what anybody says because I got the facts on my side, they do a tremendous job of running a bullpen, period. The Cardinals have an impeccable record in terms of protecting late leads. And because of that, they have a very big run differential over the final 2 seasons, over the last 2 seasons. They have a big positive run differential in terms of the 7th, 8th, and 9th innings. And they win a lot of 1-run games. They have one of the best records in the majors at winning 1-run games the last 2 years. I'd say, they play good defense, but I would say, 75% of that is the bullpen, and 75% of that, if not more, is because the manager and the pitching coach know what they're doing, and they run the bullpen very, very well. And like I said, I've got all the facts on my side on that one. Yeah. I'm sure people will push back because the manager doesn't do anything well. I get that, according to some people, but I know better than that.
And if I can just add, and I've talked about this a lot, they're also very good and very disciplined in knowing when not to allocate resources to games that they don't have much of a chance of winning.
That's right.
That's why
that's what makes fans mad because they don't think that way.
Right. Because
you got to sell out every game.
That's why they have a negative run differential. They're not better than these teams that they're playing against, yet they're beating them. But on the days that they're not beating them, they're getting beat by a wide margin because those are the games that you're not going to win anyways. So don't go to utilize your resource. Don't lose tomorrow because of losing today as well.
Yeah, and if you look at it, I was talking about this on Dave Glover's show, and I'm using the last two seasons because both seasons are very similar in terms of the Cardinals exceeding or outperforming their run differential by a wide margin. I mean, they should be 18 games under 500. Instead, they're 4 games over 500. And why is that? Well, over the last two seasons, they're 110-16 when they lead a game through 6 innings. They're 122-7 when they lead after 7 innings, and they are 136-4 when they lead after 8 innings. I mean, no team is protecting leads better over the last 2 years consistently than Ollie Marmol's St. Louis Cardinals.
And it didn't have a drop off really after. I think there's been one game since the trade deadline where they lost a lead late. I can't remember it off the top of my head, but I just remember it happening and going, okay, this is the first time. So once since the trade deadline where you sent out 3 very important relievers on this team, it's remarkable what they've been able to do with a brand new group of high leverage guys walking through the door in the middle of the season.
Yeah, they've lost one game, only one game when they've led since the trades. They've lost one game. They're 14-1 when they lead. When they take a lead into the 9th, 12-1 when they take a lead to the 8th, and I think they let one get away kind of early, like maybe in the top of the 7th. But no, I mean, to your point, Matt, it hasn't changed at all. They're still locking down these games even without Helsley and Maton and Matz, and I think that's a real credit to the way they run this thing.
If you're watching on the stream, you can always feel free to throw in your comments, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, whatever. And obviously we'll try to mix them in where they fit and where they make sense. And I believe this message came from, I think he said his name was Phil in a third message here. I think that's what he was signaling there. But any chance of a new coach next year, and then says, no matter who we feel is at fault or not at fault, big changes are needed, no doubt. They have no choice but to start with a new coach and a new coaching staff. I'm going to start off by being the baseball jerk. It's a manager, not a coach. If you're calling him a coach, you don't get to have a good opinion. I'm sorry. I'm being a jerk. I admit that. It is a manager, not a coach. It's not football. It's not basketball. It's not hockey. You're going to need a new manager. And then the separate part of that is they do have a choice. It's not that cut and dry. And if you think it is, then you don't know ball, because the problem is the roster.
Yeah. I mean, so in other words, the way I look at it, anybody who would advocate, no matter what, you got to make a change. You got to start over, manager, coaches, everybody. So what you're saying there is that you think the Cardinals have a really good roster.
I mean, and then that's the implication, right?
Yeah. So I'm a little confused because all I hear is how the ownership and the president of baseball operations have destroyed the franchise. And, the Cardinals, it'll be 28, 30, 45 years before they can win again. So if the roster's that good, if you think the roster's that good,
well, then motion.
Why do why do we complain about everything that has to do with the roster?
And I would say, if Chaim Bloom decided that he wanted his own manager next year, fine. It's not going to make it. Not going to. I know. Yeah, right. I agree. But if he thought that, that's okay. I wouldn't be mad. I wouldn't be big mad. But this current manager hasn't been the reason that the team is what it is. Every manager is a part of it. Every coach is a part of everything. But the roster is the problem. You haven't had enough starting pitching for years now. You haven't had enough power. As you pointed out earlier, Bernie, haven't had enough athleticism. If all those things are true, well, then let's see what happens when you fix the roster.
And Matt, based on run differential, the last 2 years, the Cardinals should have a .471 winning percentage. That's the expected winning percentage based on run differential. Instead, their winning percentage is .506. Oh yeah, but just get rid of the manager. They're not outperforming their statistical trends or their run differential, are they? No, maybe a little bit.
Yeah. We've all had our complaints about the manager tag, right? I mean, there are definitely things to pick at and things he needs to be better at. He needs to be better at standing up to veteran players. He needs to be better at telling players they need to take days off as opposed to giving in on guys. So there are absolutely things he needs to be better at, but we got to confine it to those things.
Right.
And there's not a perfect manager in baseball.
The more I think about it, Probably not.
And remember, and by the way, I was one of the people saying this, so I'm raising my hand. Remember how, well, gosh, look at the Cincinnati Reds. Look at that rotation. They have all these athletes. They can steal bases. They can do this. They can do that. They can do this. They can do it. Oh, my gosh, all the talent they have.
Yep.
And now they hired Terry Francona.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. What a difference he's going to make. What an incredible difference. The guy that Cardinals fans to this day cry because they didn't hire him instead of Mike Matheny. Terry Francona's a half game ahead of Ali Marmol this season. Okay?
Yeah.
And they bought at the deadline.
Yeah, exactly. And all I hear in this town is how awful Marmol was. Well, I guess Francona's awful too, right? He's only half game better. Oh, no, that's right. He's a Hall of Fame manager. Okay.
There you go.
Oh, man, don't come into Bernie's courtroom. You got no chance.
That's Bernie Miklasz, Matt Pauley, Kevin Wheeler with you here. Oh, man, that's good stuff. We got a lot more to do. We're talking a bit about Sonny Gray. We're going to talk about having more fun with this team moving into the future. We'll get all that coming up here on KMOX.
That baby's gone!
Cardinals fans, FanDuel Sports Network is your home of the Cardinals.
That ball was mashed.
And there are more ways to watch this season.
Holy cow!
Subscribe directly to FanDuel Sports Network to stream the Cardinals without blackouts.
How about that play?
Or watch through a TV provider,
Incredible!
including DirecTV, Spectrum, Xfinity, Fubo, and more.
He got it!
Learn more at cardinals.com/TV.
Ball game! That couldn't have worked out any better for the Cardinals.
Are you looking to hire? ZipRecruiter finds the best candidate for your job fast. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody. Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/deal for your free gutter inspection today. See representative for warranty details. Promotion is 20% off plus a 10% senior or military discount. One discount per household.
Hey, this is Debbie Monterey, and some of you may know that I moved my mother to St. Louis about a year ago because she's aging and I needed to help her with day-to-day things, including getting her estate planning together. I recently met with the folks at Jansky Law. Martin Jansky is an elder law attorney, and that's exactly what he does. Everything from your power of attorney to advanced estate planning, including probate. Maybe you have your estate documents completed, but a nursing home could be in the future for you or a loved one. Jansky Law can help with pre-crisis and nursing home planning as well. Martin Jansky has 30 years of experience, young or old, no matter what your age. If you love your family and want to make sure that your wishes happen or help them ensure theirs do, call Jansky Law at 314-881-6141 or online at janskylaw.com. That's with a J, JANSKY law.com. Again, JANSKYlaw.com. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisement.
Traffic from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Well, the only delays we have downtown now is westbound 44. This traffic reports a service of Anderson Hospital. So if you're heading into Metro East, it looks great across the Poplar Musial Veterans Bridges, but westbound 44 is backed up between them downtown. Westbound Highway 70, there's a little slowdown at Jennings Station. 270 out to the Blanchette Bridge is heavy. And then west of Lake St. Louis Boulevard out through 61, there's just slower traffic running that way. Westbound 64 from Boyle headed out through Clayton Skinker, you're bogged down. And then in the valley, there's a couple of spots, Top Golf out to about Spirit, a little heavy at K. And then west of Lake St. Louis Boulevard out to 70 is the only slow stuff there. Southbound 270, you've got heavier traffic coming down north of Olive down towards 64 and around Manchester. But after that, it's not really as bad of a run. Southbound 55, just a little busy Gasconade Bates, and it looks great down in Jefferson County. Next update at 5:40 from the overhead door, MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Serving the Metro East region with excellence, Anderson Hospital is proud to be named one of Newsweek's World's Best Hospitals for 2025. Experience world-class care close to home. AndersonHospital.org.
This is the Redbird Rush Hour on 104.1 KMOX.
All right, back into the Redbird Rush Hour. Bernie Miklasz, Matt Pauley, Kevin Wheeler hanging out with you on a Monday. So, Matt, you sent me this question, or actually you sent me this link via text a little earlier. So why don't you lay out the case that was made for the Giants to try to come and get Sonny Gray?
Yeah, it was from San Francisco, the beat writer. I don't have it in front of me. Susan. Right?
Okay, Susan Slusser?
Susan Slusser.
Yeah.
She's great.
She's fantastic.
Yep.
She wrote in the San Francisco newspaper that the Giants would be very interested in adding Sonny Gray, that's one of their targets this offseason. So that was kind of she wrote that before yesterday's game with the idea that there's going to be even more focus on him. He pitched quite well yesterday until he kind of ran out of gas right at the end. But I think there's going to be a lot of this going into this offseason about what teams would be interested in Sonny and whether or not Gray would be okay waiving his no trade clause to go somewhere else.
What do you think, Kev?
If he's willing, I think you got to do it. Like if he either wants to or is willing to, given the amount of money and given the fact that like you're not going to be able to fill all the holes next year, but that player could get you something that can last, right? I mean, I'm not trying to demean the player because he's been really solid for the Cardinals. Like he's done what you paid him to do is what he's done. He's given you a stable guy who's a veteran at the front of the rotation, but it's only one more year. And it's also going to be a $35 million year. What's the likelihood that he pitches to a $35 million season? And what if you can get a younger starter who may not be proven, but can be bigger to you down the road than what the Giants are looking to do next year, or a lottery? Now, again, I'm not just doing it to do it, but I would absolutely think about it if I'm getting quality offers. Because I'm not in on next year. Next year's not a win year.
I don't know. I realize how much money he's making, and that's the best argument for moving on from him, because there is like a 0.5% chance that he pitches to his contract value for next year. But you knew that when you signed him, because it was a backloaded contract. So that's the price you're paying for not paying him very much in his first year. He's still the guy that gives you the best chance to win in this rotation. Does he go out there and give you some clunkers? Yeah. Is there some inconsistency there? Yeah. Like I'm not trying to whitewash what's going on here. He is not the most consistent guy, but he's the best guy that you got. I still think, like this year, I think there's value in the fact that they're still playing games that kind of matter. They're not completely out of the playoff race. The young guys are learning about these games and the competitive nature of it. I have a really hard time believing that when there's that much I'm attached to Gray, that you're going to really get much back for him. And I don't think the Cardinals are going to eat much of it. So I'm not against it, but I have a hard time believing that what the Cardinals are going to get back for it is going to outweigh the fact that he's a guy who can win a lot of games for you.
Yeah, I don't know. I got mixed feelings. I think, I think $35 million, that's a lot of money. And Sonny Gray, I'm not sure what to expect when he takes a mound anymore. I mean, I'm just not, to be totally candid about it. But on the other hand, when he's on his game, he's outstanding.
Yeah.
I don't know how Chaim Bloom would measure his 1 year salary compared to his value. And I'm going by what Chaim Bloom's metrics are with Sarfolio, all these guys. I don't know. I don't know how they see him. But $35 million, I would hope they could have more reliability, dependability for $35 million. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Again, it's not about I'm not pushing the guy out the door.
No, right.
You're gonna have to give me something of quality. But if I can get five, just as an example, it's Harold. I don't know that I want to do an example, but look at what San Francisco gave up at the trade deadline. They traded a young starter. What is his name? The young lefty.
In what deal?
I can't remember. It's one that sent. It was a move. It might have been. No, it was part of the. It was part of the Devers trade. It wasn't at the deadline. It was part of the Devers trade. They traded a young lefty, Harrison, who has high upside, but was kind of not really in their mix. And now, again, that's Devers. You're not getting a former top 100 like Harrison in this scenario. But if you're getting a starting pitcher that you can have for 5 years, 6 years, who can maybe be a 3 or a 4 or a 5, that's a start. That's not necessarily, I'm not like, yes, sell, but like I can benefit from that more in the long term than I can of one season from a guy who's turning 36 in November.
I also think, that the best thing they can do as a general principle is just collect as many assets as they can, future assets.
Yeah.
I don't really even care, a lot of particulars, because we don't know any trade they make that involves prospects. We don't know who these prospects are. We can't sit here and definitively say they're going to be great or they're going to be terrible.
Success.
But you got to collect. You got to collect a lot of them.
Yeah. Then your odds improve. Matt Pauley, Bernie Miklasz, Kevin Wheeler with you here. More coming up on the Redbird Rush Hour here on KMOX.
Frank, did you get the mail?
Coupon, Medicare, AARP. Oh, wait. This one says open immediately.
First one in the trash.
Every day we're bombarded with messages that we don't care about. Problem is, there might be an important message in there that affects you, like retirement. For example, on September 23rd and 25th, Steve All of the All Financial Group will be hosting a Taxes in Retirement seminar at Stone Summit. From the big beautiful bill to taxes on your Social Security, Steve will cover it. It's a complimentary event, but seating is limited, so reserve your seat today. Call 636-230-8824 or online at yourmoneymattersstl.com.
What about this coupon for a new lawn service?
We live in a condo.
So?
On the 3rd floor. Mom always said I shouldn't have married you.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. Neither the firm nor its agents or representatives may give tax or legal advice. Individuals should consult a qualified professional or guidance before making any purchasing decisions.
Thank you, St. Louis, for making Genesis of St. Charles the #1 Genesis dealer in Missouri for 2025. We know your time is valuable. That's why every purchase comes with 3 years of complimentary Genesis service valet within 125 miles. We're closer than you think. That means complimentary vehicle pickup and delivery, plus a loaner vehicle at no additional cost. Or want something new? We'll bring the test drive to you. Visit genesisofstcharles.com today. Based on GMA sales records for 2024. See dealer for details.
At CertaPro Painters, we know that a happy place comes in many colors, like ones that inspire a sense of wonder, or a new flavor that makes life just a little bit sweeter, or one to celebrate those moments that lift you to new heights. We can reawaken any space to make your happy place your home. CertaPro Painters. That's painting happy. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Contractor license and registration information is available at CertaPro.com.
In the fight against Alzheimer's, now matters more than ever because now we have new treatments that could change everything. This is Megan Lynch. Join me Saturday, October 25th at the Chesterfield Amphitheater for the St. Louis Walk to End Alzheimer's. It's the region's largest fundraiser to fight dementia and support those living with the disease because now is the time for action. You can join in the fight by registering for the walk at alz.org/walk. That's alz.org/walk.
I'm Debbie Monterey, and I see more clearly thanks to the doctors at Ophthalmology Associates. Make your appointment today at 314-966-5000 or online at youridoc.com.
For all station contest rules, go to KMOX.com/rules.
At 5:30, this news update is sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. We've got sunshine and 74 downtown at the Arch. The only homicide in the history of Ellisville remains unsolved, but for how long? Stuart McMillan has that.
The cold case, dating back to 1980, has now been reopened for the 4th time since the original investigation was closed. In the death of a Parkway South school secretary, Margaret Walsh, who was 47 at the time. She worked nights at the Dairy Queen in Ellisville. All the other employees had left after the shift. She was in the process of leaving when she was shot in the head and killed. Someone got away with $125 that was in the drawer for the next morning. Fast forward to 2025, with the advancement of DNA testing, all of the evidence collected by Ellisville PD will be sent in, including your clothes and the bullet.
House Oversight Committee Democrats have released a suggestive letter to Jeffrey Epstein, purportedly signed by Donald Trump.
It was part of a 2003 album compiled for the alleged sex trafficker's birthday.
The letter Democrats released looks exactly as described in a Wall Street Journal report that the president dismissed as defamatory and sued the paper for $10 billion. It includes the words "Happy Birthday" and "May every day be another wonderful secret." For weeks, the president's denied writing it.
Somebody could have written a letter and used my name, but that's happened a lot.
And says he did not create the drawing of a curvaceous woman surrounding the letter.
I'm not a drawing person. I don't do drawings of women.
Democrats say they got a copy of the album as part of documents from Epstein's estate. Sagar Meghani, Washington.
A former top security executive at WhatsApp filed a federal lawsuit today alleging parent company Meta systematically violated cybersecurity regulations, then retaliated against him for reporting the failures. The lawsuit filed in federal court in San Francisco alleges that the Facebook parent company failed to implement basic cybersecurity measures, including adequate data handling and breach detection capabilities. CBS News technology contributor Ian Shearer.
Tech companies, including Meta, have instituted policies and features they say are designed to protect children. But despite those efforts, these issues keep coming up. These reports raise two important questions, both how serious a danger these platforms are toward children, and also why these companies are reportedly covering it up when they find these problems.
Missouri lottery officials confirm one of the two winning tickets for the record $1.8 billion Powerball jackpot was sold in North St. Louis County. The ticket worth nearly $900 million was sold at the Quick Trip on Lusher Road in Spanish Lake. Overnight clear sky, 54 for Tuesday, sunshine, high 85. For Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, high up to 93 degrees. Right now, 74 downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Mint is still $15 a month for premium wireless. And if you haven't made the switch yet, here are 15 reasons why you should. 1, it's $15 a month. 2, seriously, it's $15 a month. 3, no big contracts. 4, I use it. 5, my mom uses it. Are you playing me off? That's what's happening, right? Okay.
Visit mintmobile.com/radio. Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, $15 per month equivalent required. New customer offer first 3 months only. Then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
Here's the tale of the daily med fill. Same old pharmacy, same old bill, but those prices kept rising higher still.
Till the savings wrangler rode in, cool as can be. Tap Good RX, saving massively.
No plan? Don't matter none. Up to 80% off. Deals are done.
Discounts hitting harder than Ma's chili. Dang. That one little app does all the rest.
Save time and money on prescriptions.
Check Good RX. Good RX is not insurance.
Bernie Miklasz here, coming to you on behalf of Saliga Heating and Cooling, a Daikin comfort dealer. We have been calling on Saliga Heating and Cooling, the Saliga family, for about 17 years now. And I think I'm qualified to discuss how great they are at what they do. You know, we've relied on the Saliga for a long time for a number of issues that come up when you're a homeowner and you have heating and cooling. And sometimes things go a little wacky and you're not sure what's wrong. We've always had great comfort in knowing that Saliga Heating and Cooling is going to be there for us. Even if it's something we're like, uh-oh, what is this? This could be bad. It's really nice to know you can call an honest family like the Saliga family to take care of whatever it is that's causing you trouble with your heating and cooling system. We have found that they have set the standard for honesty and knowledge and professionalism, prompt service. They also, when they come into your home, they're really classy. They've never tried to upsell us, talk us into anything, twist our arms, trying to make the big sale on an expensive repair job. They're the exact opposite. They always start at this number one thing, which is, what is the least expensive solution to take care of your problem? Let's look for that. And listen, if you worry about if you can trust someone, this or that, you can trust Saliga. Take it from the Miklas's. They also have a Priority Club maintenance program that'll save you money. It has saved us money. There's also some priority scheduling, some other perks that go with the Priority Club. So to find out more about Saliga Heating and Cooling and all that they do, just go to SaligaHeatingandCooling.com. Thank you.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. If you've been injured in a car accident, call America's largest injury law firm. For over 35 years, my mission has been to deliver more for our clients, to deliver more for you. Injured? Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort, offering small ship experiences with a shore excursion included in every port and programs designed for cultural enrichment. Discover more at Viking.com. That's Viking.com.
Do you have $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is letting everyone know about great debt relief options now available to help people with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of your credit card debt. Get a free debt relief consultation when you call 800-201-7676. 800-201-7676. 800-201-7676.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
You're listening to the Redbird Rush Hour on 1041 KMOX.
All right, it's Monday on the Redbird Rush Hour. So Cardinals are late tonight, 8:40 for the first pitch out in Seattle, 7:45 pregame. So after this, we got some sports open line.
Fair amount of sports.
Fair amount of sports. Oh, yeah, you got almost all of it, like 80-90% of it.
Yep.
Until 7:40, and then there's a break, and then 7:45 for the pregame.
Let's go.
And then 8:40 for the game out in Seattle tonight. Should be an interesting road trip, guys. We don't have to break it down in too much detail, and we know the Cardinals aren't playing for a playoff spot, but still, they've played some decent ball here lately against teams that have something to play for. Seattle's playing for a lot. They're battling to stay in it in the American League and maybe try to catch the Astros in the division. We know Milwaukee's on pace for their first 100-win season. That's what this week is. By the way, have you looked at the pitching they're going to face this week?
I know Seattle. It's going to be great. What do they got going in Milwaukee?
They're going to get Mizorowski and Woodruff in Milwaukee, and I can't remember who the other one was, but like you're getting, I think it's Brian Wu tonight, and then I think it's George Kirby and then Logan Gilbert. And then after that, I think Friday is Woodruff, Saturday is Mizorowski, if I'm remembering it correctly. I think Quintana's on Sunday. So there's your one break, the lefty.
Yeah.
Well, 72 and 72. I wonder what that'll look like 6 games from now, right?
I mean, the one thing is Mizorowski's been all or nothing lately.
No, you're right.
Yeah.
He really has struggled.
Yeah. His last start, which was a couple days ago, looked really good, but that was his first one in a while.
Yeah.
Pat Murphy has been openly talking about the fact that his future role may be in the bullpen, not as a starter.
Yeah.
He throws so many pitches.
Oh, my God.
He has such a hard time getting through 5 innings.
Well, when you're max effort and you're also not throwing enough strikes, I mean, you're a reliever.
Yeah.
And by the way, when you're throwing 103 or whatever, nothing wrong with that. Just go get people out in the 8th or 9th inning. You know, it's happened before. But to be a starter, even if you're not the greatest strike thrower, you can't walk a lot of people.
Let's say this, though. If Mizorowski's pitching for the Cardinals, there's no talk about him being a future reliever. That tells you how much starting pitching depth the stinking Milwaukee Brewers have.
I mean, they still have Chad Patrick sitting at AAA, and he had a 3.50 ERA and like 13 big league starts this year. They don't have room for him.
Yeah.
It's a heck of a front office there, man. Heck of a front office. They got more guys than they know what to do with, and that's really all you need to know about the Brewers. You know, it's really impressive. But I look forward to seeing. I don't watch a lot of Seattle baseball, not because I don't like the Mariners. I just don't. If I stay up late to watch baseball, it'll probably be the Giants.
Yeah,
because I like their crew so much.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly. But I do want to see their pitching because it is really great. Their starting pitching's terrific. And we know that Matt Pierpont comes from that Seattle family of pitching.
Yep.
And he's one of the key guys that Chaim Bloom and Rob Cerfolio have hired. And he is going to try to bring some of that Seattle magic to St. Louis in terms of starting pitcher development. And the fact that Seattle's so great at this, it gives me a lot of enthusiasm for Matt Pierpont. It really
Absolutely.
does.
All right, let's do a quick hit of traffic, and then we'll get right back to it here on the Redbird Rush Hour. We'll just see what's going on here on a Friday afternoon commute with Captain Roger Brand.
Traffic from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Well, the only interstate trouble spot we have, Kevin, is westbound 70 at the Blanchette Bridge. We have an injury crash blocking the right lanes. Only the 2 left lanes are open. This traffic reports a service of Metro Transit. So westbound 70, because only those 2 left lanes are crossing the Blanchette, are jammed back onto those 270 ramps right now. You get past that, it's a little busy west of Lake St. Louis Boulevard. Not bad, but that's the primary backup. Westbound 64 Science Center out through McCausland is slow. It's thinned out in St. Charles County. Southbound 270 still a little busy. South of Olive to Ladue. South 170 Brentwood is 64 is a little slow. Southbound 55 a little crowded from Gasconade down to Bates, but otherwise the rest of these interstates look pretty good. North 170 is just kind of heavy past Airport Road. I'm Roger Brand at the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
This report is sponsored by Metro Transit.
All summer long, Metro Day Passes from Metro Transit are just $5, so you can take a summer daycation anytime because your air-conditioned, no-gas to buy super safe, super clean Chariot awaits. Buy yours at metrostlouis.org. That's metrostl.org.
All right, back in on the Redbird Rush Hour. Bernie, did you catch that? We apparently time warped. I said today was Friday. No, it's not. It's Monday.
I kind of do that from time to time. Yeah, don't worry about it, man.
Well,
don't worry about it.
When it's the three of us together, it's one or the other.
It is Monday or
That's
Friday.
right. Yeah.
It's either Monday or Friday. I had a 50-50 chance and I got it wrong. Dang it.
And you worked yesterday.
I did but it wasn't like a full day.
Kind of worked.
I did post game. It was like about an hour.
Okay.
That's
Yeah.
why.
Yeah. Wasn't too bad. Yeah, that's it, Matt. You got me.
Yep.
Yeah, because I did something on Sunday, I thought Monday was Friday.
There you go.
I'll be staying up late tonight, but you know what I'm going to do, Wheels? I'm going to make sure that I stay up with Matt Pauley. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to harass him and taunt him with text messages and YouTube comments. I'm just gonna get him. I'm gonna see if I can get him flabbergasted and ticked off at me.
Let's both start dummy Facebook accounts. We'll be messaging you on the extra innings show tonight.
And I won't be able to tell the difference.
There you go.
Yeah.
Cover.
I'm actually gonna do that. I'm gonna do it. What should my mystery name be? Do you want to know, or do you want to know? Okay. All right. I was going to give it to you. Like it'd be Frankfurter or something like that.
You know, when I was doing post game in Milwaukee, one of the guys who was one of the background guys for Fox Sports Wisconsin out there, whatever it was called at the time, would always send in text messages under a fake name, and I knew it was him, but it was good. It was always good.
So we didn't touch on this yet today. It's really not that big, but Matt, why don't you lay out a couple of roster moves today, and then obviously more tomorrow because Contreras will be back.
Yeah. So Garrett Hampson is gone. He was no longer part of the Cardinals organization. He was DFA'd. Andre Granillo is sent down. And then an interesting guy. He was one of the top pitching prospects with the Nationals, and then never got to the big leagues with them, and then signed a minor league contract with the Cardinals. Nick Requay. He got his contract purchased. He's on the 40-man roster, and he's going to be with the team here moving forward. So he's the.
And then the offensive side was bringing back Alec Burleson today.
Yeah, that's right. I missed that one, but the Requay, who's not a lot of people are going to become familiar with. He's the classic Cardinals sinking fastball, pitch to contact, get ground ball guy.
He did strike people out in the minors as a reliever.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I don't know. I mean, you know how it is at this time of year, Burn. The guys that are, in that position, he's 29, not really a prospect. You got a 40-man now, but that one's not one you're going to be too worried about protecting later on.
Yeah. The thing about it is you never know when they're picking up a guy because they think there's something there or it's just fit roster filler. Either way, I don't get excited about it because, all of my thinking is really centered on 2026, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So however they choose to finish out this year, I really don't care. I mean, I care in that I'm interested in watching and keeping on top of things. But as far as getting all worked up about it, it's kind of a little too late for me on that one.
Yeah, I'm with you. And I think, there's plenty to still learn. We want to see some guys get to the finish line that haven't gotten there in their current roles. But I don't know that there's much that's going to happen in these last few weeks, guys, that changes the narrative on anybody. Do you?
No. I was thinking about this earlier today. I am at the point now. I know it's really done. I don't think this is a playoff team. I would be shocked if something happened where in the final 3 weeks of the season, they ascend in that final wild card spot. I don't think it's going to happen. But at this point in time, if Jordan Walker goes on an incredible 18-game run, you know what it means? It means nothing. It means he played 18 games where it was good. There were, other than watching like a Matthew Liberatore just finish out the season, get his final 3 or 4 starts in, and be healthy going into the offseason. So he basically posts just with that one speed bump and other little situations like that. Outside of that, we are past the point of learning anything about anybody. So for me,
even McGreevy.
Yeah, like just let him finish out the season. You know, we've seen him do the thing where he struggles and then he bounces back. Like I know who he is, and I like the track that he's on, and I'm excited to see him face big league guys for a few more times and just see what that looks like. But my overall opinion of Michael McGreevy is not going to change no matter what he does the rest of the way. So as far as I'm concerned, go put your best effort, go put your best lineup, do everything you can to win as many games as possible the rest of the way. And if something miraculous happens where the Mets can't win another game and the Reds can't win another game and the Giants can't win another game, and somehow, some way, in some crazy world, you find yourself like legitimately contending for a playoff spot in the last 3-4 days of the season, awesome, because there's nothing to learn about guys at this point for the most part, in my opinion.
No, in terms of affecting how I feel about them going into 2026, I would agree with that. So I would prefer to see their younger guys finish strong. But that's not a game changer for me, like you said, Matt.
Yeah, I guess you're right. The questions that still need to be answered would need to be answered over a larger period than 3 weeks. Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
And, and what's going to happen when Arenado comes back, too? That's the other thing. You don't know what the manager is going to do with some of the guys that are returning. Does that mean Gorman heads to the bench again? If so, then this whole season was a joke as far as trying to determine anything. I'm sorry, but it is.
Yeah. If Donovan's not back, at least they have second base to play him at.
Yeah. And at this point, maybe it's better if guys that are really struggling, it's okay. Let's not hurt it more. Let's just relax and get into the offseason. All right, one more segment to go. Bernie Miklasz, Matt Pauley, Kevin Wheeler with you here, the Redbird Rush Hour on a Monday on KMOX.
Attention. Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers. So don't wait. If you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-207-4545. That's 800-207-4545. Once again, that's 800-207-4545.
Hi, this is Charlie Brennan. I see clearly now thanks to the doctors, Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brusati, and Andy Royer. You can too. YourEyeDoc.com.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance supervisor at a manufacturing facility, he knows keeping the line up and running is a top priority. That's why he chooses Grainger. Because when a drive belt gets damaged, Grainger makes it easy to find the exact specs for the replacement product he needs. And next day delivery helps ensure he'll have everything in place and running like clockwork. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hey guys, Glover here with my friend Mark Cantor at Cantor Injury Law. So as you know, I'm a lawyer, so I take this very seriously. Mark is a great attorney. He has a great team. He is from St. Louis. He is local. Call 314-628-9999 or visit CantorInjuryLaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be solely based on advertisements.
Are you a skilled maintenance or process technician and feel like you're not being paid what you're worth? At Pretium Packaging, we're shaping the future, one bottle, one idea at a time. We value innovation, sustainability, and experience. And right now, we're hiring. Bring your expertise to a company that believes in paying top dollar for talent. With great pay, great benefits, and opportunities to grow, you've got to check out Pretium, packaging your ideas into solutions. Apply today at PretiumPKG.com. That's Pretium with a T, PKG.com.
Traffic from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Well, the only place we got trouble right now is westbound 70 on the Blanchette Bridge. They're doing better. The 3 left lanes are open now. 2 right lanes are blocked on the Blanchette Bridge, and traffic's at a standstill as you come off those 270 north and south ramps onto westbound 70. Once you get around it, it's just a little busy past 61 and Z. Westbound 64, still some slow stuff. Science Center and McCausland, but after that, you're pretty much home free. South 270 is cleared out. Southbound 55 is cleared out. Downtown, we look good going into Illinois, so just a little slow on eastbound 64 right now. There's a crash just past 157, just a little bit of a delay there. I'm Roger Brand at the Michaels Flooring Outlet.com Traffic Center.
You're listening to the Redbird Rush Hour on 1041 KMOX.
All right, Redbird Rush Hour. We got a few minutes left, getting things wrapped up near Sports Open Line. Matt Pauley has Sports Open Line up until pregame, and then he's got pregame.
Yep.
And then you got the Cardinals game, and then Matt's got postgame, and Bernie and I are going to heckle you during the postgame show.
There you go. Bring it on.
I can stay awake, man. I get up awfully early these days.
Do you?
So, yeah. I'm going to try, though. I'm going to try, brother.
Matt knows anytime he needs to text somebody at 1:30 in the morning, he knows I'll be awake. We're both late night people, so so we know that that's going to work out. Real quick, Bern, I loved your video today. I didn't get to see all of it because I was watching it during a commercial break on the DGS, so I only saw a bit of it. But just for a tease, if people want to check it out, it's all obviously on Twitter. It's your video from today for the Bernie show. I thought it was an interesting point that next year, even though it's probably somewhat of a continuation of this year, call it what you want, rerun, rebuild, whatever. But doesn't mean it isn't going to be fun. And I thought it was a good point because next year should be fun because we're going to start seeing something different.
And one of the major points I made here is that the off season will be fun and it will be entertaining. It'll be interesting because I went back and looked at, listen, when you look at Chaim Bloom and his operating principle philosophy, you have to go back to his Tampa Bay roots. Now, some people don't want to hear that. I don't know why, because the job that he was hired to do here is similar to putting in a model that is closely related to what Tampa Bay does, which is draft development, finding bargains, free agents, making trades, making a lot of trades. So you got to look to that to see, okay, where does Chaim Bloom come from? What's in his DNA? And in the video, if people watch it, I went through a bunch of trades that were made, when he was part of the operation. I mean, a bunch of trades, very creative trades. And also they signed more free agents than I remember that they did. Than I recall. They signed free agents. They also extended a lot of their younger players.
Yeah.
And so Chaim Bloom will give us some action this offseason. And I think, depending on how things go, I think it could be a really interesting team next season. I'm not saying it's going to be a postseason contender.
Right.
But I think it's going to be really interesting because, as you said, and I know I need to shut up here, as you said, the wheels will be turning. There's not going to be any dormancy. Things are going to be spinning, and I'm looking forward to that.
The winter meetings could actually be interesting this year because they are normally I go there every year, and it's the most boring 4 days. Like, what am I doing? Well, I'm just sitting at a table. What am I doing here?
Yeah.
And look, this year, and I really hope Chaim does what Mo does, where every single night we go up into the suite and we talk to him, and because that's going to be the first opportunity to get kind of some more intimate type conversations with him. We'll get a press conference with him. But winter meetings and sitting down with him every single night, I hope that ends up happening because that could be good.
We got a last message of the day, and we got about a minute. Matt DeMargo throws in a message. 2 words, pillow deals. I can't disagree with that. I mean, if those opportunities are out there, so guys that are maybe coming off years they weren't thrilled with and they're not getting the free agent offers, there's nothing wrong with taking those opportunities. Again, even I'm not saying do 10 of them, but 1 or 2, that's a pretty good way to maybe sneakily get better and maybe have something to trade at a deadline.
Absolutely. I agree with that. I can't wait for Chaim Bloom to get started. That's all I got to say, because I think it's going to be a really good time as far as a lot of different and new things. And I think everybody's looking forward to that.
Yep, I agree. Different is going to be in and of itself something interesting to give us something to pay attention to because we're going to be learning as we go along doing all of this. All right, Bernie, have a great evening. We'll sync up our messages with Matt a little bit later on as Matt's doing pregame and postgame tonight. Matt, have fun tonight on Sports Open Line.
Thanks.
All right, that's Matt Pauley, Bernie Miklasz, Kevin Wheeler, wrapping up the Redbird Rush Hour. Cardinals baseball coming your way. 7:45 for the pregame show. 8:40 for that late first pitch here on your home for the Cardinals, KMOX.
Don't get lulled into believing the IRS is getting soft. It's just the opposite. Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. We are being told by IRS collection officers that their higher-ups are demanding that they get more aggressive than ever. So don't ignore them any longer. Level up. If you have unfiled returns, unpaid taxes, levies, or liens, call the Lance Story Law Firm today and let us get between you and the IRS. We'll protect your rights, including your right to appeal or even your right to take the IRS to tax court. Remember, IRS problems are legal problems, and they need to be handled by an expert attorney team who's done it for decades. So call the Lance Story Law Firm today. We're local. Our office is right here in St. Louis. Schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm, the Lance Story Law Firm, 314-260-6120.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Actual price will depend on product and subscription plan. Featured products or compounded drug products, which the FDA does not approve or verify for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. See website for details, restrictions, and important safety information.
Want a boost in and out of the bedroom? Hims has you covered. Introducing a new 2-in-1 approach to level up your game. Tadalafil for better bedroom performance and zinc for testosterone support. Put it all together and you've got what you need to turn things all the way up. Getting started is simple. Just go to hims.com/joy to start your free online visit. Through Hims, you can access ED treatments including pills, chews, and more. 100% online. No office visits, no pharmacy lines. Just fill out a simple intake form and a licensed medical provider will determine if treatment's right for you. If prescribed, it ships free and discreetly to your door. Find affordable treatment options at up to 95% less than brand names at hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy, HIMS.com/JOY.
Siteman Cancer Center Spotlight. We are visiting with Dr. Premal Thacker.
I think the key is recognizing symptoms and not ignoring them to say, oh, I think that's going to go away. So I highly encourage anyone who's listening, if they're having abnormal bleeding or hasn't seen their gynecologist in a while, to really make that appointment to ensure that you're getting the best health.
Thanks to Siteman Cancer Center, national leaders in cancer. For more information, please visit siteman.wustl.edu.
It's back, and you're invited to join us in Forest Park, September 19th and 20th, for the 53rd Annual Great Forest Park Balloon Race Weekend, presented by PNC Bank. Attendance is free, and the number of memories and photos you can capture is endless. Special thanks to New Ground International and Blue Moon Brewing Company. The 53rd Annual Great Forest Park Balloon Race Weekend. For more details, visit the events page at KMOX.com.
Traffic from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Well, we're still dealing with this earlier crash we had westbound 70 on the Blanchette Bridge. The two right lanes are still blocked there. If you're headed that way, you've got to back up coming off the 270 ramp, still bumper to bumper solid through there. In fact, southbound, the right lanes are backed up through the Rock Road now, so it's a little heavier on that side. Northbound, barely back to McKelvey. So, but again, the two right lanes are still blocked there on the Blanchette Bridge westbound. I thought they were just extinguishing maybe a minor fire a moment ago. So they're getting close to clearing it, but still a pretty significant jam there. And that's the only jam we have on the Missouri side because westbound 64 is cleared out of the city. It looks great out in Wentzville, both approaches there. Southbound 55 through Gasconade Bates, everything's back on track. Had this crash eastbound 64 just past 157. I think they have a lane block there. It's just a short jam either side of 157 on eastbound 64 right now. So again, not too much of an issue. And they started some road work today, 9 to 3. They're still going to have their right lane closed on northbound 255 near 5570 from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
News, talk, cards. KMOX AM St. Louis, KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Letter allegedly written by President Trump to Jeffrey Epstein, released by Congress.
The letter bears Donald Trump's name and what appears to be his signature.
2 Supreme Court rulings in Trump's favor.
I think these will end up back before the Supreme Court.
Pending Israeli airstrikes in Gaza.
Netanyahu warned the residents of Gaza City to leave now.
This is the CBS World News Roundup Late Edition. I'm Jennifer Kuiper. House Democrats on the Oversight Committee release a birthday message allegedly written by President Trump to convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Trump has denied writing the letter.
The alleged letter from President Trump was included in a book for Jeffrey Epstein's birthday in 2003. The letter is written inside a drawing of what appears to be the form of a woman and signs off, "A pal is a wonderful thing. May every day be another wonderful secret." Author Barry Levine has written about Epstein and Maxwell and says while the White House says it is not Trump's signature.
This was back in 2003. The next year, he went on The Apprentice. He wrote a few books. He was signing a lot of books at that time, and his signature changed. But this signature matches up to his handwriting at the time.
Matt Piper, CBS News.
A protest in Chicago earlier today.
Hey, no fear! Immigrants are welcome here!
This as the Department of Homeland Security says it's moving forward with ramped up immigration enforcement in Chicago this week in an effort dubbed Operation Midway Blitz. Immigration attorney Justin Burton.
People are afraid to go to court. People are afraid to travel. People are afraid to go to work. People are afraid to send their kids to school.
A win in court for the Trump administration as the Supreme Court lifts a restraining order on federal agents conducting sweeping immigration operations in Los Angeles while the litigation goes through the courts. Loyola Law School professor Lori Levinson.
What we have is a concurrence by Justice Kavanaugh, who seems to downplay what it means to have ICE officers stop individuals. And he says it's only temporary while they figure out their status.
In another ruling, Chief Justice John Roberts is allowing President Trump to remove Federal Trade Commission member Rebecca Slaughter while the court considers the case. Linda Gradstein in Jerusalem reports Israel prepares for another offensive in Gaza.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu warned the residents of Gaza City to, quote, leave now, hours after Israel said it would ramp up airstrikes on Gaza. He also said that Israeli forces are organizing and preparing for a ground maneuver hours after two Palestinian gunmen killed at least 6 people in a terrorist attack in Jerusalem.
Stocks rose on Wall Street. The Dow closed up 114 points. The Nasdaq ticked up 98. Now this.
Progressive Insurance, with insurance for cars, home, boat, motorcycles, RVs, and commercial vehicles at 1-800-PROGRESSIVE and Progressive.com.
At 6:03, we've got sunshine right now, 73 degrees downtown at the Arch. The Missouri House gives initial approval to a bill to make it harder for voters to amend the state constitution. House members are also beginning debate on redistricting.
This is insidious and it's outrageous.
State Rep David Tyson Smith, a Democrat from Columbia and Boone County, which would be chopped up by the new congressional map, says the issues are connected.
It is coupled with redistricting because we're going to redistrict, we're going to lose a congressional seat, and then we're going to kill the initiative petition process so the voters can't undo the damage we're doing with redistricting. That's what it's about.
State Rep Brian Seitz, a Republican from Taney County, meantime, defends changing the initiative petition process.
What this HJR does, it ensures what the voters want, a 50+1 ability in each of the congressional districts to change the most important document in Missouri apart from Scripture.
More votes are expected Tuesday before the measures go to the state Senate. A rash of shootings in a 1-hour period Sunday evening. 9 people shot in 4 separate incidents. 5 people shot and injured on Cherokee. Police Chief Robert Tracy still points to crime numbers being down. KMOX asked if he's had any communication about the influx of FBI agents to the city.
As soon as they come here, they're also coming to the whole region. They're not just coming to the St. Louis city. They're coming to the region. So I would gladly, any resources that we have, we already work well together. That's why it's not just the St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department is doing it, but our federal partners and also our prosecutor. To remind people how is this getting safe for this city, we also have a prosecutor that's holding people accountable as well.
The chief did not provide specifics as to how many FBI agents will be deployed or for how long. He did tell KMOX the agents could help in strike forces investigations into violent crime like what happened Sunday. After securing a change of venue, could attorneys for St. Louis County Executive Sam Page get his criminal trial dropped? In a conversation with KMOX, attorney Matthew Redefeld says they want to have a discussion with newly sworn-in Attorney General Catherine Hanaway.
To present to her maybe some information that they may not have as of yet, because from our understanding, there was some information that may not have been presented to the grand jurors, and we're hoping that we can present that information to Catherine.
KMOX followed up asking if he'd share this information, but Radefeld declined. He said there is no meeting scheduled with Hanaway. A downtown open-air drug market is shut down by the city.
Signs taped to trees all over the park read "Park closed for public health and safety through September 14th, 2025." As St. Louis City Hall has come in and shut down the park in between Soldiers Memorial and the downtown library due to increasing drug activity and even drug dealing, KMOX has witnessed happening here at the park. And it's a quiet park now with people just walking through. I just watched two people walk a small dog through the park in downtown St. Louis. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
If you bought a Powerball ticket in Spanish Lake for Saturday's drawing, you'll want to check it. The Missouri Lottery says a winning ticket for the record jackpot was sold at the Quick Trip on Lusher Road, with a second winning ticket sold in Texas. The prize for each comes to nearly $900 million. Let's get you a check on the drive right now. Roger Brand, what's the latest?
Well, it looks great out there with just a couple of exceptions, Michael. As traffic reports the service of Overhead Door Company of St. Louis, they had a crash on the Blanchette Bridge. They cleared it mostly, but that one vehicle caught fire at the end, so they had just extinguished it before the top of the hour. The right lane may still be blocked. It's hard for me to see from my vantage point right now, but the other lanes are open, so that's good news. We still have a jam, though, coming off the 270 ramps northbound and southbound, northbound at McKelvey, southbound at the Rock Road, most of the way to the Blanchette Bridge on westbound 70. Again, that right lane may still be blocked there. And there's still a little bit of a backup eastbound 64, both sides of 157. That's due to an eastbound crash we had just east of 157. Your garage door is the largest piece of moving equipment in your home. When it needs help, call the experts at Overhead Door for same-day service at 314-781-5200 or schedule online at overheaddoorsstlouis.com. I'm Roger Brand in the Michael's Flooring Outlet.com Traffic Center.
This report is sponsored by Overhead Door Company of St. Louis.
It's another beautiful evening across the St. Louis area. Clear skies and nice temperatures. Will actually be dropping out of the 70s into the upper 60s and 54 for the low. On Tuesday, sunny. It's a touch warmer in the afternoon. Still very nice. 85 for the high on Tuesday. Tuesday night, partly cloudy, 62. Then Wednesday, we start to warm it up. Sunny skies Wednesday, the high near 90. Clear skies, 66 Wednesday night. Thursday, sunny and 92. And then summertime, it's going to be a bit of a jolt. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, sunshine with high temperatures near 95 each day. No records, but all is dry. Our vegetation is bone dry right now. I'm meteorologist Dave Murray on 104.1 FM. KMOX.
Cloudy 73 downtown. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Come on, let's get going now.
From KMOX Sports.
We're primed and ready. All day, baby. Man, let's go.
This is the Gray Bar Sports Open Live. Gray Bar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Here we go on a Monday night. Welcome in. It is a Gray Bar Sports Open Line right here on KMOX. My name is Matt Pauley. Great to have you with us tonight. For all of those sticking with us from Redbird Rush Hour, we will continue to talk a lot of Cardinals, but we'll get into a few other things. We'll talk some college football. Big weekend of college football in the area, especially with Missouri coming up with a win against Kansas and some other things happening from a national standpoint. So a fair amount of college football to be talked about over the next hour and 45 minutes or so. We've got first pitch tonight of the Cardinals in Seattle at 8:40. That means pregame at 7:45. That means this show's going to end at 7:40. So we got about an hour and a half here before we call it a night. We got a bunch of guests who are going to be on the show today in about 10 minutes or so. We're going to be joined by our good friend Nate Gatter. Of course, you hear him right here on KMOX doing a bunch of things. But he's also the lead college football voice for Westwood One Sports. So we'll talk with him about all things college football, including University of Missouri, which I know he'll enjoy being able to talk about. Jacob Sersasimo from Channel 4 is going to join us at 6:35. We'll talk Cardinals. We'll talk Mizzou with him. We'll talk a little tennis with him as well because he's a big tennis guy. And then next hour, we're going to have Ryan Fagan joining us, and he's going to be on to talk Cardinals baseball. So Ryan's going to be with us right at the top of the 7 o'clock hour next hour. So we've got a few guests, as always. If you want to join us, you can do so by calling or texting 314-436-7900, 314-436-7900. You can also tweet at me at Matt Pauley on air, Pauley on air. And for those of you who are watching on the video stream, whether it's on Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube, you can just leave a comment in the chat, and we'll get to some of those comments as we go ahead and continue on with the evening. Cardinals win yesterday. Nice win. They were able to get the lead somewhat early. Sonny Gray pitched well. He had a no-hitter for a while, and they got the lead. San Francisco made a little bit of a run, a little bit of a push, but the Cardinals were able to hold on to it, and they won 2 out of 3. I mentioned this in Redbird Rush Hour. I tweeted it last night. Cardinals continue to get the most out of their opportunity to win games. And what I mean by that is this is a team that has a run differential that's not very good. They are negative 40 in run differential, and they have a 500 record. Now, don't take that as me saying a 500 record is good. A 500 record is good enough. But that's not the point I'm trying to make. The point I'm making is, bluntly, this team has no business being a 500 club. And last year, they probably didn't really have much business being an above 500 club with where they were at. But they have a negative 40 run differential, and they're sitting there at 500. To put that in perspective, here are the other teams in the National League with negative run differentials. The Miami Marlins have a negative run differential. They're 11 games under 500. The Atlanta Braves have a negative run differential. They are 15 games under 500. The Washington Nationals have a negative run differential. They're like 30 games under 500. The Pirates have a negative run differential. They're 25 or so games under 500. And the Colorado Rockies have a negative run differential, and they are on pace for the worst record in the history of Major League Baseball. So those are the teams. Those are the teams in the National League with negative run differentials, plus the Cardinals, who are at 500. So what keeps happening is they go have games where they look terrible and they get beat by a ton. And that's what happened the first game of the A's series and the first game of the Giants series. They lost to the A's 11-3 before winning 2-1 to 5 and 5-1. And then they lost to the Giants 8-2 before coming back and winning 3-2 and 4-3. I'm not trying to give you a math lesson here, but obviously because they are giving up so many runs in their losses and not scoring runs in those games, those losses are resulting in them having a negative run differential, despite the fact that they won each of those series. It says a lot about the club's ability to find ways to win games. You know, that the second game of the Giants series is an example of that, where they didn't have any business winning that game. They didn't. They hadn't scored a single run going in the ninth inning. They're down 2-0. It had been a really bad offensive day. And all of a sudden they face a guy that they're able to see a little bit, and they put together one heck of a ninth inning where they got some help. They got a walk in there. They got a hit by pitch. So but they took advantage. And then it was good to see Jordan Walker come up with that big hit after the week that he had. I thought it was important to see his teammates be as excited for him as they were, because when you've got a guy like Walker who had basically been publicly called out by the leadership of the team from a manager and a hitting coach standpoint, and you don't really know how much maybe the veterans on the team are wanting to see more from Walker, how much his teammates are wanting to see, when the exuberance that existed for Walker coming up with that hit, when we saw that, I thought it said a lot about the club and the appreciation that they have for Walker. And they may just really like the guy. They might wish that he approached things a little bit differently, but like him nonetheless. I don't think nobody's ever said anything bad about Jordan Walker as a guy. He's a really good dude. He's a great dude. Are there questions about his ability to prepare and just be a pro in the way that he does things? Yeah, that doesn't make him a bad guy. It makes him a young guy who's learning what it takes to be a major leaguer. And it might just be taking him a little bit longer. And the path might be much more meandering for Jordan Walker. So you take the good moments when you get them, and you got a good moment from him on Saturday, and then he didn't have a bad day yesterday either. I am getting frustrated with his defense. It really feels like his defense has taken a big step back. You look at some of these routes that he is taking, it's like he doesn't see the ball off the bat. There was one play on Saturday where he was basically ducking his head. He was holding his head like he thought he was going to get hit by the ball, and it was 15 feet in front of him. So that's been a little bit disappointing for Walker to see that the defense has regressed to go along with everything else that he's been doing. But all that being said, you come out of the weekend and Walker did all right. So it's good to see him respond a bit to what was a very, very challenging week, I'm sure, for him. All right, we are going to take a break, and when we return, our friend Nate Gatter is going to be with us as we'll talk all things college football with him. He's up with us in just a moment. Don't go anywhere. This is Gray Bar Sports Open Line on KMOX.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/deal for your free gutter inspection today. See representative for warranty details. Promotion is 20% off plus a 10% senior or military discount. One discount per household.
Are you somebody that gets frustrated with your home internet? You're paying too much money for it. It's not reliable. It's not fast enough. All those things. Well, I've got an answer for you. It's called i3 Broadband. They are the internet service provider in my home. I have been with them longer than I've been talking to you about them. So I was a customer first, and I love the service, and I'm glad that I'm able to talk to you about them because it's one of those things where it's with most companies, cable companies, other telecom companies, it's frustrating, right? It's always frustrating. You hate paying your bill. You hate the dropouts for no reason. You hate the fact that bad weather. It's like, oh, is my internet going to stay intact? You don't have to worry about any of those things with i3 Broadband. They always mirror their upload and download speed. That's something else that a bunch of other companies don't do. So that sometimes you might think that you have like 1 gig internet. You actually have 1 gig download, but the upload speed isn't that. So when you got to send stuff to get stuff and everything, it's actually really slowing things down. You don't have to worry about that. You can get a lot faster speeds than that too. Like there's some places that they cap you out at 1 gig, not i3. That's actually one of their slower speeds. 1 gig, 2 gigs, 8 gigs, whatever you might need. I'm paying less money than I did with my previous service provider. I have faster service, more reliable service, and I just like them a lot more because I feel really good about having them as the folks that provide my internet. Put your address in at i3broadband.com. That's i3broadband.com. See if they're available in your neighborhood, i3broadband.com.
This is Kyle Bush with Krantz Financial Group. For over 6 decades, we've helped St. Louis families and businesses plan with purpose and live with confidence. How many times have you changed jobs over the years? If you're like many professionals, you may have left behind one or more 401ks. Unwatched, unmanaged, and potentially your largest retirement asset. Just because it's out of sight doesn't mean it should be out of mind. Let's make sure it's working as hard for your future as you are. Your goals, our mission, start today at kfgadvisors.com.
Securities offered through Raymond James Financial Services. Member FINRA/SIPC. Prince Financial is not a broker-dealer.
This is Debbie Monterey, and if you or a loved one needs some extra assistance to age comfortably and safely at home, look no further than Ever True Anywhere Care. Formerly Lutheran Senior Services, their team walks alongside you every step of your journey. Whether it's navigating a dementia diagnosis or handling end-of-life care and bereavement, they offer world-class caregivers right here in St. Louis. Call 314-597-6498 or visit evertrueanywherecare.org.
Thank you, St. Louis, for making Genesis of St. Charles the #1 Genesis dealer in Missouri for 2025. We know your time is valuable. That's why every purchase comes with 3 years of complimentary Genesis service valet within 125 miles. We're closer than you think. That means complimentary vehicle pickup and delivery, plus a loaner vehicle at no additional cost. Or want something new? We'll bring the test drive to you. Visit genesisofstcharles.com today. Based on GMA sales records for 2024. See dealer for details.
Don't let mosquitoes ruin your time outdoors. At Rottler Pest Solutions, our mosquito control services are designed to dramatically reduce mosquito activity so you can enjoy your yard in peace. Protect your family from mosquitoes, ticks, and more with safe, effective treatments from Rottler. Plus, with flexible scheduling and 24/7 support, we're here when you need us. Take back your yard. Visit Rottler.com today to schedule your free inspection. At Rottler, we know St. Louis pests because we know St. Louis best.
The Dave Glover Show, weekdays at 1 on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
It's Graybar Sports Open Line right here on KMOX. My name's Matt Pauley. We had a really good weekend of college football, both locally and from a national standpoint as well. And with that, very happy to welcome onto the program somebody here on KMOX a lot, but he is the lead college football play-by-play voice for Westwood One Sports. It's our good friend Nate Gatter. Nate, appreciate you taking time with us today. How are you doing?
Great to be here, Matt. I'm doing well.
Now, were you had the Oklahoma State-Oregon game this weekend, right?
We did 69-3, baby.
That was a very one-sided contest. I get in the right direction for Oregon and in the very wrong direction for Oklahoma State.
Yeah, I mean, Mike Gundy kind of set himself up for it with. I don't think he totally intended to do this, but some of the things that he said in his press conference this week did not go over super well in Eugene. And the game presentation people at Oregon were ready. They played some of those comments, including some downplaying Autzen Stadium and the noise and the effect that it might have on Oklahoma State's young quarterback making his first college start. They played all of those comments on the video board at various times. And I think it's safe to say it wouldn't have made any difference. There could have been nobody in the stands and Oregon still would have romped. But I think it's safe to say that the crowd had an impact on the game, in particular the 2 pick sixes in a span of 3 snaps in the second half.
I saw Gundy afterward. I just happened to catch this, that he said that he made the game plan way too complicated and he took blame for the loss. But I mean, that's not the entire reason that you lose in that kind of way.
No, their roster is just not very good. To be honest, I think that might be the least talented power conference football team I've ever watched with my own 2 eyes. Now we see generally very good teams, but they were overmatched really from beginning to end. Oregon, I mentioned the 2 pick sixes in 3 snaps in the third quarter for the Oregon defense. The Oregon offense scored 2 touchdowns on their first 3 offensive snaps of the game. So, it was really never in doubt. I mean, 2 snaps in, Noah Whittington, 59 yards for a touchdown. Then Oklahoma State goes 3 and out. Oregon gets it back, 65-yard touchdown pass on the very first play of the second drive. At one point, Oregon had 4 touchdowns, and their longest touchdown drive was like 2 minutes and 20-something seconds. They were just slicing completely through them. I mean, some of it is that Oregon is a very good team. So it's not like Oklahoma State's going to lose by this margin to every team they play. But Oklahoma State is really not good. I mean, it truly was varsity against JV. And I don't think anybody, save the Oklahoma State folks who just wouldn't have wanted to suffer the indignity, I don't think anybody would have been too upset if they let the Oregon crowd do shout at the end of the third quarter and then everybody went home.
Fair enough. I know you have a love for Mizzou. I believe your game was going on around the same time as the other. We're amongst friends here. How much of an eye were you keeping on that score as you were going about your game?
When I would think of it, I would check it. But, there's a lot going on during the course of a game, so I would forget it frequently. I think I definitely checked it at halftime. And then I think I checked it once around the end of the third quarter, start of the fourth quarter, and our game really slowed down in the second half. So Mizzou was ahead of us by that point. And I think at that point when I checked it, they were down 3, I guess it would have been. They were down 31-28 maybe at that time. And then actually I got the update that Mizzou had taken the lead from John Stashower, who was doing our studio pre and post game and halftime hosting. And he maybe once each half we'll come out of a commercial break and he'll do a quick 60 seconds kind of updating the college football scoreboard around the rest of the country before he throws it back to us. So I actually found out from him as essentially a listener to the broadcast that Mizzou had taken the lead. At that point, it was 35-31. And he tossed it to me. That was his last one. And he tossed it saying like, we had to get that one in for Nate so that he would know, how the Tigers are doing. And I think I said something to him on the air to the effect of like, don't give another update if they lose. I don't want to hear if they lose. Thankfully, all's well that ends well. I think a game that, again, I've only seen the highlights and can go off the statistics, but certainly a game Missouri would feel they should have won more comfortably. But you know what? It's in some ways the identity of the program that Eli Drinkwitz and the players, for that matter, don't back down in the fourth quarter of a close game. They keep doing what they're doing. They went for it on that key 4th and 7 on the catch by Coleman. And I think that's sometimes what separates them in those marginal games is that Mizzou is not intimidated by the moment. And then some of that is, the swagger of their head coach, I think. And they tend to step up in those fourth quarter moments, especially offensively. So, maybe it'll benefit them to have been in a game where maybe they should have pulled away and they couldn't and had to find a way to win it a little uglier in the end.
They went for a bunch of fourth downs. They were very good on fourth down. And I thought it was key that they took the lead late. They gave it back to Kansas, and then they come up with that stop right there. And that was a point in the game where it was going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Sometimes it doesn't matter how many stops you get in a game. It depends on when you get the stop, and they got the stop at the right time, and then they were able to score again. And it looks like the final score wasn't indicative of what that game actually was.
Yeah, and I think, anytime it's a stop as opposed to a score at a critical moment, that says something too, right? I mean, I think about the South Carolina game last year on the road when I think Mizzou would have felt great about their chances having the ball last to go win the game, and they thought they had on that great Cook to Burden touchdown, and then they couldn't hold the lead. Even at the very, very end of the game, it was just a little too much time for them to hold the lead. And I think, that's true of a lot of teams in college football, that they'd almost rather be down 3 with the ball and 2 minutes to go than up 3 and defending with 2 minutes to go, right? I mean, I think that's plenty. Certainly in the NFL, it's sometimes true. Last night, the Bills looked so comfortable coming from behind. I think they would have much rather had the ball in Josh Allen's hands down a couple of points at the end of the game than vice versa. So, that's sort of the era of football that we live in now. But I think it says something, and it's a real boost for Missouri defensively to be able to get a critical stop like that and feel like the defense made plays down the stretch as well, not just the offense.
It's a great point by you. It's actually something I was talking about when I did a hit with Chris and Amy earlier today, just that where we're at right now with high-level football, it seems like teams really know the process of what you need to do to come back late. And I think Kansas City probably taught a lot of people a lot of things in recent years because they started to show everybody, what you need to do to put together, the score right at the end of the game. You mentioned the Sunday night game, the Jets Steelers game. They were down. The Steelers were going in the fourth quarter. The Mizzou game. It just we are at a point right now in football where if you have a competent coaching staff, and not everybody does, but if you have a competent coaching staff, I think most of these teams understand at least what has to happen for you to pull off wins like that.
Yeah, I mean, and competent quarterback as well, especially because of how much, in particular at the NFL level, how much the quarterbacks are basically running those 2-minute drill sequences on their own. At the college level, this kind of ties back into what you said about Gundy saying that he made things too complicated for his, a debuting freshman at quarterback in Oklahoma State getting blown out in that game. I think at the college level, you really think about the sort of axiom of like, it's not what you know that counts, it's what your players know, right? And that's certainly true at the college level. I think, every offensive coordinator in the country at the college level is pretty competent about how offensive football works. It's the much bigger separator is their ability to teach it to their players and put their players in a position to execute. I don't think if you got together the top OCs in the SEC and the Big Ten and they had a meeting with like the bottom OCs in the MAC, that the guys in the MAC wouldn't be able to understand what was being talked about in the room, right? They understand the concepts. The guys know football. It's really about how well can you teach it and how well can you get these elite athletes that you've recruited to execute at a high level. And you know, that's where you see the difference between the NFL and college. But I think about that all the time when we're doing our big college games, that ultimately, even as professionalized as it's become, literally and sort of figuratively, if you will, the kids out there are still kids for the most part. You know, yeah, Jalen Daniels been in college for 6 years for Kansas. Okay, fine. But mostly these are young kids. Bo Prevula, for instance, you know, you're talking about a kid in his early 20s who has played very little college football. Certainly, you know, has never been in that position where he's the guy coming down the stretch in a tight game and everybody's relying on him. It's a real challenge to get them to be able to execute anywhere near their potential. You know, think about just for the regular person, think about the most pressurized day you've had at work. How close to 100% of your potential did you perform on that day, the first day you'd ever been put in that position? You probably walked away feeling like you were 60, 70% of your best, if that, right? You maybe got the sweaty hands, the stammer in your voice. The room was moving pretty fast. And, you know, I think my opinion is, and I talk about this with broadcasters, that's kind of who you really are, is 60 to 70% of your best. That's what you can count on to be there when the pressure's on. Maybe some guys can do better than that. Maybe if you get enough experience, you can do better than that. But that's basically who you are. And so that you have to train at a really, really high 100th percentile level in order to make sure your 60th to 70th percentile is really good. And the college coaches who can do that consistently are unbelievable to me. With all the distractions these kids have, how young and inexperienced they are, to get the complexities of some of this stuff through to them and the ability to communicate it and execute it really quickly in huge pressure situations in front of 80, 90, 100,000 people, some cases who are actively trying to prevent you from succeeding. It really is incredible. And we don't stop and look around and think about it very often.
He is Nate Gatter. You hear him here on KMOX, but he is the lead college football voice for West Woodland Sports. He'll have the Georgia-Tennessee game from Knoxville this upcoming weekend. Certainly appreciate that. Thank you so much for your time, and we'll catch up with you again down the line.
Matt, I appreciate you.
I appreciate you. That's Nate Gatter joining us here on the program. We'll take a break, and when we return, Jacob Sersosimo is going to join us. You see and hear him on Channel 4 and Matrix Midwest as well. We'll talk a little bit more about Mizzou with him. We'll get into the Cardinals, maybe even a little tennis with him. He's a tennis guy, and it's a big time of the year for tennis. That's all coming up. Don't go anywhere. It's a Gray Bar Sports Open Line on KMOX.
When life happens and you need to sell your St. Louis area home, call trusted realtor Gloria Liu with your home sold guaranteed realty. Gloria is St. Louis's real estate expert with more than 22 years of experience and expertise, helping you sell quickly and for the most money.
Selling your home can be so stressful, especially when life happens, like a sudden job change, a passing of a loved one, or a growing family. Knowing exactly how much your home will sell in today's market is the first step. Then I back it up with an upfront written guarantee. My guarantee is simple and easy to understand. If I can't sell your home at our agreed upon price and time frame, I'll buy it myself.
When life happens, the name to remember is Gloria Liu, your home sold guaranteed realty. I strongly suggest you call her right now at 314-325-6888, 314-325-6888, or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date.
It's easy to feel apprehensive about getting screened for cancer or to just keep putting it off. But Siteman Cancer Center wants to remind you how important it is, especially after the age of 40. And they also want you to know how easy it is to get it done. GetScreenedNow.com has all the information you need on cancers like prostate, breast, colon, lung cancer. You can also find out your risk of disease by answering just a few simple questions. And then you can find one of the hundreds of screening locations in the area. Even if you're a little farther out, there is probably a place near you. You have heard this before, but catching cancer early dramatically increases the odds of a successful treatment, especially with so many cancers showing up earlier in life. So do not be intimidated. Siteman will make the process as simple as possible. GetScreenedNow.com. Do it for your family and friends who count on you. Do it for yourself. Visit GetScreenedNow.com.
Missouri, get ready. The wait is almost over. DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, is coming soon to the Show Me State, and you can sign up today. New Missouri customers can get $300 in bonus bets when we launch on December 1st. Download now and place a $5 bet when we go live. DraftKings Sportsbook brings everything you need to elevate your game day, including live in-game betting, lightning-fast payouts, and endless ways to get in on the action, all right from your phone. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code KMOX to grab $300 in bonus bets with just a $5 bet when we go live December 1st. That's code KMOX in partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 and over. Physically present in Missouri. Eligibility restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Excludes customers who redeem pre-launch sign-up offer. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos.
You've got a ton of equity in your home. You're sitting on a gold mine, and you could do so much with all that cash, like travel, invest it, or pay off debt, but you can't touch it unless you sell your home. But you really don't want to move. And besides, homes are sitting on the market for a long time these days. You're trapped, right? Well, not with TrueHold. With TrueHold, you can cash out your equity in as little as 30 days. And listen, you don't have to move. You can stay in the home you love as a renter. So that's TrueHold's Sell and Stay program. You cash out your entire home's value and stay put. TrueHold even covers property taxes, property insurance, and essential repairs. So imagine using that equity to travel, invest, or pay off debt and stay in your home. It's brilliant, especially in this slow market. You get an all-cash offer now by calling 1-855-300-9993. You can also visit TrueHold.com, the smarter, faster way to cash out on your home's value without moving. That's TrueHold.com.
Cards manager Ollie Marble joins the Gas House Gang every Tuesday at noon. Sponsored by Siteman Cancer Center on the voice of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Great Bar Sports Open Line continues right here on KMOX. My name is Matt Pauley. We've got you for about another hour, and then we will get underway with Cardinals pregame as tonight they are in Seattle. So it's a late night of Cardinals baseball, and we'll have it for you right here on your home for the Cardinals, 104.1 FM at KMOX. Right now, very happy to welcome on to the program. He's one of our good friends. You see him on Channel 4 KMOV, also on Matrix Midwest. He is Jacob Sersasimo. Jacob, always appreciate you spending some time with us. How are you?
You, Matt. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's start with Mizzou. You guys are a big part of what's going on with Mizzou broadcasting, with everything you do in terms of your programming. And that was a fun game against Kansas. It was an important game against Kansas, and give a lot of credit to the Tigers, not just for coming back after they were down big, but then making the plays in the fourth quarter that really allowed them to win that game.
Yeah, wow, what a game. I mean, the way that Mizzou really reacted to, especially, I think, the early part of the game when they go up 6-0 and then they give up 3 touchdowns. And next thing you know, they're down 21. They're down two scores in that one. But I think the biggest thing that I took away from it is we didn't really know what this team was going to be. Central Arkansas isn't necessarily the best benchmark to, prove who you are or who you aren't against a Central Arkansas team that you score 61 points on. And going into the season, there was a lot of uncertainty, I believe, about who this team was. We knew the defense was going to be good. They had Zion Young, Trotter. They had a lot of the guys on that defensive side, Wilson, McClellan. They had so many guys on the defensive side that you knew how good they were going to be. And the offensive side had so many question marks. Yes, you have Brett Norfleet back, but you have a new running back there with Ahmad Hardy. You have a new quarterback in Bo Prabula. You got to replace Armand Membu. You have to replace a guy like Luther Burn III that is such a playmaker, and there's a reason he's playing in the league. And there were so many question marks, and a lot of those were answered on Saturday. And what a win for this team. Is it an emotional win? Are they going to be able to play in the big moment? Not only do they play in the big moment, they respond to the big moment, and then they come back and they get a massive win to start the season. Yeah, Kansas isn't the number 1 team in the nation, but it is Kansas. Jalen Daniels has been in college, it seems like forever, and they play really good against a good Kansas team, and they get a win. So I think we just learned a lot about what Mizzou team we're going to be watching the rest of the season.
I was interested to see, because for people in these parts, they understand what the rivalry between Missouri and Kansas means. But for a bunch of these 18 to 22-year-olds, many of whom are not from Missouri and or Kansas, both programs really tried to instill in the days leading up to the game what this means. And as I watched that game and everything that went along with it, it felt like this wasn't just a fan-driven rivalry, that the players on both sides really did understand that the stakes of this game were a little bit more than your normal everyday rivalry.
I think you have to give a ton of credit to Eli Drinkwitz and what he did. He mentioned in multiple press conferences, and also some of the players even said it too. He brought speakers in the summer to talk about this rivalry. He didn't bring speakers in last week. It was too late last week to realize what this rivalry meant to so many people. You're in the middle of the season. It's time to focus on how you play football and beat another team. Yeah, he talked about the emotions of the game and everything. But last week in press conferences, he's like, we've talked about this, that we know what this rivalry means. We have to win a football game. Like, this rivalry is great and all, but we have to win a football game. And bringing in those speakers this summer and having this summer to sit back and teach these 18 to 22-year-olds, some of that have been in your program for just months at this point and may not be in your program afterwards, that aren't going to have years to learn about this rivalry. Have them have speakers in, former players, people that know about this rivalry. And then when the game week comes, it's not new information. You're not learning last Saturday, last Sunday, last Monday about this rivalry. You already know about it, and it's time to play ball. And that's exactly what they did. I give major kudos to Eli Drinkwitz on how he handled that situation. He didn't wait to teach them about what this rivalry meant. By the game week, they're like, yeah, we've been hearing about this for months. We know exactly what this rivalry means to people. I know everyone's talking about it this week because it's a game week, but we're done with that. We want to play ball, and we want to beat them.
I thought it was important. I know Paul Feinbaum had a lot to do with it, because I heard like the SEC Nation show was originally going to do the Ole Miss Kentucky game because that was the one SEC conference game of the weekend. I guess Feinbaum stepped in and said, you people don't understand what this rivalry means. We need to send our resources to Columbia. And I appreciated that. And I was glad that from a national standpoint, there was a lot more of a spotlight on this rivalry. And again, I think it has a lot to do with people like Paul Feinbaum stepping in and making sure that it got the spotlight that it deserved.
1,000%. And the people that are watching that SEC Nation might be, in their 20s, or they might be in their early 30s. You got to remember, this game hasn't been played in 14 years. So there's a lot of people that watch that show that don't really remember the last time that Kansas played Mizzou, or they don't really remember that 2007 game, or they don't really remember what it was like in the 1900s. You know what I mean? Like, they don't know that. And so I don't blame them for not knowing, what kind of rivalry this was. Yeah, we got it in basketball last year, and that was great and all. But in football, it just means a little different. They got that drum involved. There's a lot that goes on with this rivalry, and you mentioned it. Paul Feinbaum making sure that this rivalry, or SEC Nation and SEC Network, comes to Mizzou and highlights this. Yes, but it's been a while. It's kind of one of those where out of sight, out of mind. A lot of people might not have remembered it nationwide. Everyone looks at the Ohio State, Michigan because they play it every year. A lot of people look at Auburn, Alabama because they play it every year. They don't play this Kansas rivalry every year. And so a lot of people might have forgot how much each of these states and each of these, programs really don't like each other. And I think that was put on full display this weekend. I think ESPN did a great job of highlighting it, bringing in former players to talk about it. I think Mizzou did a fantastic job of kind of reminiscing on this rivalry and making sure everyone, even if you weren't around, if you're a Mizzou fan now and you weren't 14 years ago, even if you weren't around for all that, you're getting the full experience of how big this rivalry is. And I thought everyone involved did a great job.
Yeah, Kansas did too. And I know, like, lifting up Kansas isn't what people want to hear right now, but I saw a social media video that they posted that was narrated by Aqib Talib. And it was fantastic. Like, to your point, everybody involved in the coverage of this game got it right.
And I think sometimes we forget on this side of the state that Kansas City is like right in the middle of this. Right? Like, yeah. Kansas City's right in the middle of the Mizzou-Kansas rivalry. We're right in the middle of the Illinois and Mizzou and what goes on there, but they're right in the middle of this. So ironically enough, on Saturday morning, I listened to the radio station in Kansas City as they did this whole pregame show for this game, right? We got off the air at 11 o'clock for Mizzou Live, and for the next couple hours, I just had the radio on in the background listening to this. And those people are in such a unique perspective on this rivalry. And as you give kudos to Kansas, I think you have to, because they're such a big part of this rivalry as well. And it kind of takes two to tango in this aspect of you got to have both schools hate each other equally as much. And we hear a lot of the Mizzou side here in St. Louis, but you also got to hear a lot of the Kansas side. And listening to Kansas City radio that day was quite unique, because of they have people there that went to school at Mizzou. They have a lot of people there that went to school at Kansas, and they have an equal amount of fan base on each side. So it was interesting, but I think you're right. A lot of people put some legwork into making sure this rivalry is what it's meant to be and what it used to mean. And I think it lived up to the hype.
Couple things for you before we get you out of here. First, just a real quick take on the Cardinals. They're still kind of sticking around. They've gotten their record back to 500. They were outscored over their last two series against the Giants and A's, but they end up winning both those series. Even if they're not going to be a playoff club, which seems to be the likely finish, you have to give them credit that they are continuing to play hard and do what they're supposed to do here in the final few weeks of the season.
I think you have to give a lot of credit to Ollie Marmol. And I know, a lot of people have opinions or what they want to say about Ollie Marmol, but you're looking at a club and that has been clear about, I know they don't really want to call it Matt, what do they want to call it? A rebuild? What are they calling it?
It's the runway season. It's a reset, retool.
Reset might be a better way to put that. But when you're in a reset season and attendance is going to be down, and you just have, not people in St. Louis necessarily, but like people just want to hate on the Cardinals because they've been so good for so long. And so they're like, good, hopefully they have a down season. They're saying things like that. And you have a manager that comes in and embraces that, gives the players their runways, and has the ability to mix in veterans with these new guys and kind of create his own culture. And they're at 500 right now. Yeah, they might be 4.5 games back, and there's kind of a logjam there as you head into the wild card, and they're probably not going to be a postseason team. However, I think it takes a special kind of person to embrace that challenge and do a pretty good job at it. And you're going to become sellers at the deadline and get rid of his three best relief pitchers out of the bullpen. That's okay. They're going to figure out a way to do this. And, you've seen all the transactions that they've made over the last month or so, since a little over a month since that trade deadline. And it's, they're bringing guys up and putting them down all the time. Between Memphis and St. Louis, there's been this constant back and forth with players and pitchers and whoever it is. And to be able to keep some constant in there and, seems like it's still a very level-headed clubhouse, and to be at 500 right now, I think people might not want to hear this, but I think it's pretty impressive.
Not to cut you short on tennis, but just very quickly, U.S. Open just wraps up. What are your overall takeaways? It feels like there's certainly a line of the top level players, and there's not many of them right now.
It's going to be Carlos Alcaraz or Jannik Sinner. If you're watching a Grand Slam, it's going to be one of those two in the final. The last 8 majors that have been played last year and this year have been won by either one of those two. Carlos Alcaraz right now is 22 years old. He has 6 Grand Slam titles. To put that in perspective for you, Matt, Andre Agassi, who everyone loves, and I like him as well, had a great career. He had 8 Grand Slam titles at the end of his career. Right now, Carlos Alcaraz is 22 and has 6. Jannik Sinner not far behind him. So it's controlled by 2 players right now. Luckily for tennis fans, those 2 players are fantastic and very, very fun to watch. So they did the exact same thing at the U.S. Open that they've done for the 7 Grand Slams before that, dating back to the Australian Open in January of 2024. And it's put on a show. And when you get them in the final, it's going to be good. But right now, there's a lot of players that got to do a lot of things to get on their level.
Yeah. What's it going to take for this thing to fill out a little bit more, where you feel like there's other individuals that have a shot?
I mean, I hate to say it, but you have to look at if one of them gets injured or has to restart with something, or like right now they're just at such a different level. And you're looking at some of these young guys who have a lot of promise, like Alcaraz, like Sinner did at one point, and they're just not doing what Sinner or Alcaraz can do. I mentioned on a podcast today that you look at, Roger Federer, Rafael Nadal, when they started and they get up to 20 Grand Slams, and Djokovic is in that conversation as well, and they leave. And I was even one of them that were like, I probably won't see this again in my lifetime. I blink, and 6 months later, the 2 next greatest things come up and no one's even touching them. So it's going to take a generational talent again. We got 2 generational talents again at the same time. We just did for the last 2.5 decades, and we're getting it once again. And it's going to take someone else to come in and rise to a level they've never seen before in order to be remotely on the same level of these two.
For the tennis fans out there, you've got your tennis podcast, Believe in the ATP Tour. You link to it on your Twitter page at Jacob Sersasimo. So if people want more tennis conversation from you, they can certainly check that out. And then, of course, on Channel 4 on Matrix Midwest. Jacob, appreciate the time, and we'll do this again real soon.
Appreciate it, Matt. Always good talking sports with you. Have a good one.
You too. Very good. That's Jacob Sersasimo joining us. One more break. We'll come back. We'll wrap up hour number 1 of the program. This is a Gray Bar Sports Open Line on KMOX.
Now, 90 and 60. A look back at the latest St. Louis City SC match. Presented by Woods Basement Systems, Inc.
Ball up back to Leuven. Pompey straight on. He rips one. He scores! FC Dallas just moments really after Pompey's goal ties it up 1-1. Follow lifts it. Oh, what a crazy shot from McSorley. Almost can openers it in. Foley with a scissor-like kick, but it's stopped by a diving Jackson. St. Louis City and FC Dallas will finish in a tie.
Up next, City SC faces the Montreal Impact Saturday night. Kick at 6:30 on Y98.
Tripping over uneven concrete? Don't replace it, raise it with concrete leveling. Call the all things basement-y experts, Wood Basement Systems, for a free estimate at 618-249-5503 or learn more at woodsbasementsystems.com.
The KMOX City SC Soccer Showcase, presented by Michelob Ultra, is back. Next stop, Hot Shot Sports Bar and Grill in Arnold, Thursday, September 18th. A limited number of fans can get an autographed picture from City SC player Timo Bunkardel. Win great prizes, enjoy great food, and a cold drink. Hot Shots in Arnold is the place to be Thursday, September 18th from 6 till 8 p.m. for the City SC Soccer Showcase, presented by Michelob Ultra. For more info, KMOX.com/events. If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at LanceDruryLaw.com.
Feel like everything's clouded by doubt? Visit CaliforniaPsychics.com. Our psychics are available to talk 24/7, and we guarantee if it's not life-changing, it's free. Experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
Out here in the middle of these acres, it can feel like you're the only person on earth. That's how it feels when you're struggling with your mental health. But you don't have to feel alone. Find more information at loveyourmindtoday.org. Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
Do you have $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is letting everyone know about great debt relief options now available to help people with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of your credit card debt. Get a free debt relief consultation when you call 800-201-7676, 800-201-7676, 800-201-7676.
Hey, it's Tom Ackerman. Football is back, thank goodness. And Underdog is the best place to select entries and win money all season long. You can play right now in Missouri, and playing on Underdog is easy. Just choose whether your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats like touchdowns, receiving yards, interceptions, and more during football season. There is nothing better. Download the app today and sign up with promo code TOM. That's really important. Promo code TOM to score $50 in bonus funds when you play your first $5. That's promo code TOM. Millions of fans have already won billions making plays on Underdog. Will you be next? Underdog, make plays, win money. Must be 18 plus and present in Missouri. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org.
Welcome back to the Gray Bar Sports Open Line. Once again, Matt Pauley on KMOX.
We are starting to wrap up hour number 1 of the program. We're going to get out of here in just a couple minutes, and then 7 o'clock news. And after that, we'll have you for another half hour, 35 minutes or so, leading you right into Cardinals baseball. Cardinals opening up a series tonight in Seattle against the Mariners. Miles Miklasz on the mound. Miklasz has been on a little bit of a run here. However, he has done that in home games. He has not been as good on the road. We'll see what it looks like for him coming up tonight. Cardinals have a tough customer they're going to match up against in Brian Wu, who is 12-7 with a 3.02 ERA. If you missed the news earlier today, there were some Cardinals roster moves that were made. The best news is Alec Burleson is back from the 10-day injured list. So he's going to be back and available, especially with Wilson Contreras serving his suspension for one more game. You've got Burleson who can play over first base. Although I thought Nolan Gorman did a nice job over there. Just keeping him in the lineup as much as possible is going to be the key here. And it was less challenging with both Burleson and Arenado out. Now Burleson's back. We'll see what they do. Arenado's probably going to be back with this team here sooner than later. And then we'll see where it goes. If Brendan Donovan continues to be on the injured list, and right now not much of a timeline has been given for Donovan, you would think that at that point Gorman would go back to playing more second than anything else. But I said this earlier during Redbird Rush Hour. There's really nothing that can happen in the final 18 games of the regular season that's going to change my mind or make me feel really different about any individual. But I do think there is value in continuing to go out and play young guys and play the guys the runway season was for, all of that as much as possible. So keep making sure that you find a way to keep Gorman in the lineup on an everyday basis, I think is important. Also, it feels like Jordan Walker has just a little bit of momentum. Does that continue here moving forward? We'll see. So that's one of the moves. Burleson back from the 10-day injured list. Garrett Hampson designated for assignment. He didn't get an opportunity. When he did get opportunities, he didn't perform. Kind of felt like sometimes I get frustrated with the Cardinals that they don't utilize the roster as much as I would like them to use. However, you look at the roster. I talk so much about it being a team that maybe doesn't have the most talented roster. Well, if that's the case, you have to use the most talented guys. So a guy like Garrett Hampson ends up not being used, and now he has been let go. Andre Granillo down, and then Nick Riquet has been brought up. We'll talk more about that coming up in just a while. Hour number 2 after the 7 o'clock news here on KMOX.
Everyone needs to have at least one person in their corner in life. When you don't, it's an extremely lonely and frightening place to be. But knowing you have that one person gives you peace and hope. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Since 1988, myself and my firm have been in so many corners for so many clients for so many years. We became the largest injury firm in the world for a reason, and it's not even close. We fought like hell for you. We fight the bullies, automobile insurance companies, the makers of unsafe products, medical providers who injured or killed their own patients. It has been such an honor and made my life complete. If you ever need us, it's easy. On your mobile device or computer, visit forthepeople.com, and then we get to work 24/7. Whether you're hurt in a car crash, injured on the job, or have questions about your Social Security, we're here for you. Morgan & Morgan, for the people.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results. Every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
When you want a brand new kitchen, there's nothing to it. There's a brand new way to do it. 3-day kitchen and bath.
Bill talks about why he loves 3-day kitchen and bath.
I was looking to renovate a home that I purchased. They came out, did all of the work in a timely fashion, and looks first rate.
Bill, would you recommend 3-day kitchen and bath?
Oh, yes, definitely. Not only because of the quality of the work, but also the quality of the service along the line from the beginning until the end. That they were there and with me, and as we went along, I saw some things that I thought I might want to change, and we're happy to do that. Really pleased with the way they work. As I said, not only the quality of the work, but also the quality of the service along the way.
It's about time.
3 days or less
at 3-day kitchen and bath.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. We're dedicated to serving people 50 and up like me. Our needs are different. Big Wireless wants us in an unlimited plan, but if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used. At Consumer Cellular, we're focused on affordable, reliable plans, including data that suits your needs, not ours. Our plans start at just $20, and you'll get the best customer service in the business.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com/facts or a store near you. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
Winner of the National Edward R. Murrow Award for Breaking News. KMOX AM St. Louis, KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Jennifer Kuiper. The Supreme Court lets the Trump administration resume sweeping immigration stops in the Los Angeles area. The order had been issued by a judge who found that roving patrols were conducting indiscriminate stops in and around L.A. California Attorney General Rob Bonta.
How they prevent the use of race to tackle discrimination, but allow the use of race to potentially discriminate is disturbing, and it is troubling.
The Trump administration says it's launching immigration raids across Chicago called Operation Midway Blitz as the president threatens to also send in the National Guard. CBS's Nancy Cordes.
The president continues to publicly flirt with the idea of sending the National Guard into Chicago, but when pushed, he generally says that he wants the governor of Illinois to invite him in, something that is not going to happen. Governor J.B. Pritzker saying that he doesn't want the National Guard in the Windy City.
Feds say the immigration enforcement effort will target undocumented immigrants with criminal records. A message allegedly written by President Trump to convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein on his 50th birthday has been released by Democrats on the House Oversight Committee. Trump has denied writing it. Barry Levine has written about Epstein.
We knew that Donald Trump was friends with Jeffrey Epstein back in 2003. That is well known. He might have written something for this birthday book. It doesn't allege any wrongdoing, but the story blew up because Donald Trump denied it to such a great degree.
President Trump again threatens tougher sanctions on Russia after a large aerial attack by Moscow on Ukraine. CBS's Holly Williams.
Russia launched a swarm of more than 800 drones overnight into Sunday, according to the Ukrainian Air Force. That's the largest drone barrage since this war began back in February 2022. Ukraine says it managed to intercept most of the drones, but close to 60 managed to evade its air defenses.
Paramount, the parent company of CBS News, names an ombudsman.
CBS News has named Kenneth R. Weinstein as its ombudsman to review editorial concerns raised by employees, viewers, and listeners. Weinstein previously served as president and CEO of the Washington, D.C.-based conservative think tank Hudson Institute. Paramount President Jeff Shell says, at a time when trusted media is more important than ever, this new role reinforces our commitment to truth, trust, and accountability. Weinstein was President Trump's nominee in 2017 to serve as U.S. ambassador to Japan and was also chairman of the Broadcasting Board of Governors. Matt Piper, CBS News.
A train collides with a double-decker bus in Atlacomulco, northwest of Mexico City, killing at least 10 people and injuring more than 40. This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
At 7:03, it's a partly cloudy sky and 70 degrees downtown at the Arch. The Missouri House tomorrow could send along to the Senate two bills. One would make it harder to change the state constitution by petition. The other would redraw congressional maps to be more favorable toward Republicans. State Rep Anthony Ely of Jackson County, where Kansas City is.
Kansas City and Jackson County function as one community and shouldn't be chopped up into pieces. Let rural Missouri keep districts that fit rural needs, and let the Kansas City area keep one that fits ours.
John Simmons of Washington and Franklin County on whether this map was drawn in Missouri or Washington, D.C.
Governor Keogh's a self-made man. He's not going to take orders from anybody. He's going to do what's right for Missourians, and that's what he did in concert, I'm sure, with advisors through the Trump administration.
The vote to approve the petition changes in the House was 96-55. With his trial set to be moved to Greene County, how does St. Louis County Executive Sam Page plan to mount his defense?
In a conversation with KMOX, St. Louis County Executive Sam Page's attorney, Matthew Radefeld, said the Proposition B mail at the center of a criminal indictment was approved by legal counsel and was intended to be informative. However, reading the flyer, it is clearly against Proposition B without telling voters to outright vote no. I asked Radefeld if that matters.
Nothing on there that would deem to be persuasive, but rather actually telling the voter what it means to vote a particular way on Proposition B.
He also claimed nothing in the flyer was incorrect. Critics have argued the line about how a yes vote on Proposition B could empower the county council to fire the chief of police is a falsehood. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
Within an hour Sunday night, 9 people had been shot, 1 killed in 4 different shootings.
St. Louis Police Chief Robert Tracy says the incident happened around 7:30 following an argument that left a 37-year-old woman injured and a 53-year-old man with a graze wound to the head. By 8:10, police responded to another shooting at Cherokee in Nebraska in the park that injured 5.
Located 1 person had been shot. 2 area hospitals alerted us that they have received additional gunshot victims who were privately transported. In all, 5 men were shot, ranging from ages 20 to 67. A 33-year-old man is in critical condition.
15 minutes later, a shooting in the 3600 block of Hamilton left a man in his 20s injured. Then 5 minutes later, in the 4200 block of Code Brilliant, a 31-year-old man shot who died at the scene. As of now, Tracy does not believe the shootings are related. Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
Missouri's 45th Attorney General has been sworn into office. Republican Catherine Hanaway says she's eager to get down to business.
My priorities are pretty clear. I want to fight crime, and then I want to protect Missourians. Protecting Missourians includes protecting our constitutional rights. I think my predecessors have done an incredible job at that work and bringing some of the biggest cases in the country.
Clear sky overnight, 54 for Tuesday, sunshine, high 85, 90s for the rest of the week. Right now, 69. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Welcome back to the Gray Bar Sports Open Line. Once again, Matt Pauley on KMOX.
Back out on the Gray Bar Sports Open Line right here on KMOX. My name is Matt Pauley. Have you for another 35 minutes or so, and then we will get you to Cardinals pregame. And I'll have that for you beginning at, 7:47? Yeah, 7:45 for our pregame show tonight. So we'll wrap up Sports Open Line at about 7:40. As always, if you want to join in on the program, you can do so by calling or texting 314-436-7900. That's 314-436-7900. You can also tweet at me at Matt Pauley on air, MattPauley on air, or if you are watching the show on Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube, you can leave a comment in the chat and we will get to that. We are efforting Ryan Fagan right now. Hopefully we'll get the chance to talk with him here in the next moment or so, as we always love talking with Ryan, love talking Cardinals baseball with him. So we are trying to get Ryan on the line. And when we do, we will certainly let you know about that. Got a text message. And I was actually going to hold this text message to our next segment because I wanted to have a little bit more time to address it, because the person who sent it spent some time writing it, and I appreciate that. But it had to do with Jordan Walker. And it is a belief that is held by a lot of Cardinals fans. So this is what the text message reads. Says, I believe when Jordan Walker came up from the minors, he was mishandled from day one. He was successful at the plate until he got here. Then shortly thereafter, he started having difficulties when instead of going up to play the game and hit the ball, he had other things on his mind like launch angle, lifting the ball in the air, etc. I noticed that with other players, but Jordan was younger. He began to try to please the coach rather than play the game because he had more on his mind than just it's been involved. I've noticed with the interviews with other players, they've had to deal with the same type of management, and interviews they've said, I don't pay any attention to that. I do what I know to do and just concentrate on hitting the ball. In my opinion, hopefully with the change in management also comes a change in manager, because this is a trend that I've seen over his tenure with the team. All right. So a few things here. First off, I do think the Cardinals mishandled Jordan Walker in some ways. I think they mishandled him in the minors. That they did not force him to do some things that would have made him more ready for the big leagues. And I also don't like the way things went down when he first made his big league debut and he was having success. He was getting hits. He was on that hit streak. And then they stopped, they kind of pulled him out of games to work on stuff. So I'm not saying that the Cardinals were perfect in the way they handled it. But at the same time, there are some things I strongly disagree with on this text. Do we have Ryan Fagan or not? Okay, no Ryan Fagan yet. All right, I can continue on with this line of thought. Here's something that it's just true. And there's a lot of people who disagree with what I'm about to say. And I don't say this very often because I think I'm very good at being open to other people being right and me being wrong. I'm well aware that I get things wrong as often as anybody else. But one thing I know to be true, and I'm 100% sure of it, what Jordan Walker was doing when he first got to the big leagues was not sustainable with the approach that he was taking. He was going to be adjusted to, and then he has to make the adjustments. And I talk about this a lot. I probably talk about it way too often because I'm repeating the same stuff I said, but then I see text messages like this, and I just have to address it again because it's a really important thing to understand with what's going on with Jordan Walker. And Kevin Wheeler brings it up all the time. Kevin reminds folks that you can diagram out a swing. Have the Cardinals made some changes with Walker's where he sets up in the box, how wide his stance is, all that sort of stuff? Yeah, they have. But the actual swing that Walker has, the swing path and things like that, it hasn't really changed. Walker's basically doing the exact same stuff that he did when he first got to the big leagues. He's making terrible swing decisions. That's a big part of this as well. He can't recognize pitches. And that's what he has to do to get better. He has to start recognizing that this is not on the Cardinals telling him to focus on launch angle. Launch angle is not something you focus on. Launch angle is a result of a good swing. Nobody's going to the plate with the thought that, I got to work on my launch angle. Launch angle is if it's an equation, something plus something equals something. Launch angle is the answer to that. It is it's what you get because you are taking the correct swing. So if you are where you are just simply wrong is if you think if Jordan Walker would have kept doing exactly what he was doing when he first got to the big leagues and nobody would have messed with him whatsoever, that he would be having more success right now, you are wrong. He would not be having more success right now. He'd probably be having the same level of success because honestly, the swing is very similar and there still needs to be changes. With that, let's bring on Ryan Fagan. He is one of our favorite people to be able to talk baseball with. You can follow along with him over at STL Sports Central and some other places as well. Ryan joins us right now on the program. Hi, Ryan.
Hey, Matt. How you doing, man?
I'm good. You know what? Let's just there's a lot of people out there that blame the Cardinals for Jordan Walker's inability to improve since where he was when he began his big league career and where he is right now. I'm a big believer, as you just heard me say. I don't think what Walker was doing at the beginning of his major league career was sustainable. Eventually the league was going to adjust to him and he had to adjust back. He hasn't made those adjustments, in my opinion. What say you?
Yeah, I mean, I think when people sense the frustration that the team has, when the fans have the frustration and the player has the frustration, you want to find someone to blame, right? I mean, it's just natural. There's something wrong. Someone's got to be at fault, and sometimes, that's true. But sometimes, look, it takes a minute. I've seen comparisons lately to Joe Adell, the first rounder the Angels took a couple years ago, and that makes a lot of sense because Adell had a lot of the same issues that Walker had. Just pitch recognition. He swung and missed a lot. He struck out a ton. And, when you compare that to not much patience at the plate, but, Adell was kind of the same type of player, a big kid with a lot of power. And everybody's like, okay, the power will come. The power's there, and Adell looked like for a while he might be like a AAA quadruple A star, the guy that could hit in the minors but never could quite make it happen in the majors. And then you look, and he's in his age 26 season with the Angels, he's got 35 home runs, 94 RBIs, and that's the kind of power, that's the kind of season that someone like Jordan Walker with his size and power is capable of. And Walker's bigger than Joe Adele, even though Joe Adele has always had a lot of power, even coming out of high school. I remember talking to Adele for the Sporting News when he was right before he was drafted, and he was a smart kid. He really wanted to work hard. He was doing all these things. It took a while, right? And it's taking a while for Jordan Walker. Now, I'm not saying Joe Adele's the best case scenario because Joe Adele's in his 6th year, right? I'm not sure there's quite as long of a leash, as much patience for Jordan Walker in St. Louis, because the Angels have been pretty bad through that stretch. But I think that's the kind of season that Walker's capable of. The question is he ever going to figure that out the way that Adele has finally in his 6th year?
If you were the Cardinals, would you plan on him being would you go into spring training next year with the idea that this is somebody that you want to have a job, or do you basically build the roster where you don't need Walker, and then if he plays his way onto the team, it's just bonus?
That's a good question. I think I'm quite honestly, I'm absolutely fascinated to see what the Cardinals do in the offseason, what Heimblum does. Does he remake the roster right away? Does he bring in guys just to make a change? Does he jettison some pieces that have been around for a while but maybe don't have a longer term future here? I don't think that Jordan Walker has done anything to guarantee himself 130 games next year. Not at this point. So, I mean, he has the opportunity, but I don't think at this point you hold anything for him. And that's what this year was for, and he is sitting here, you look at his numbers, he's got an OPS plus of 64. That's really bad. Mm-hmm. I don't care how much potential you have. If you're, 36% below league average in a pretty telling statistic, you don't get a ton of at-bats guaranteed to you over the season. Sure, maybe you get a chance in spring training, you get a chance early, but I think the runway, so to speak, for Walker would be much shorter next year than it has been this year.
What's crazy is he is literally one of the worst hitters in all of Major League Baseball, yet because of his ability to hit the ball hard, he is a tweak or two away from being able to be one of the best hitters in all of baseball. It doesn't feel like it would take that much. If he can just stop swinging at pitches low and away, if he can make contact more often, all of a sudden we're talking about one of the best hitters in baseball.
Yeah, I've been around some pitchers that talk about approaching Walker, and it was, said in a way that it was, let's not name names here, but it's that slider down and away, it's just every time it starts over the plate, he's like, I'm going to go for it. And then he winds up swinging a foot over it and looks like he never really had a shot. And, opposing pitchers recognize that, he does, he's come up with some clutch hits. He had the one the other day, the walk-off. That's always great for confidence. And he feels like the kind of guy that, we talk about. I mean, how many times, Matt, have we talked about, well, that was a big moment for Walker. He's hit well last week. Is this going to be the start of it?
Yeah.
Right. Only to have that followed by a stretch of 2 weeks where he hits $125 and strikes out 4 times for every walk he gets. It just feels like it's kind of the same thing over and over again. But again, 23 years old, age 23 season, still very much in development, still a ton of potential, a ton of power to be that guy, but it almost feels like one of those things where the Cardinals and the fans are going to have to kind of stop expecting any sort of turnaround that resembles quick and kind of dig in for the long haul. And at some point you have to decide if that long haul is worth it, because he's the kind of guy too. And I think to the other point that you're terrified to trade away, right? Because more so than like even Adolis Garcia or Randy Arozarena, he's the kind of guy that you could trade away and then all of a sudden he develops into a star somewhere else. And I think that's something that no general manager or decision maker wants to be remembered as the decision maker who traded away the next MVP candidate. I think that's potentially in the back of the minds as well.
This team is the only team in the National League that's 500 or above with a negative run differential They just got outscored by the A's and won the series. They just got outscored by the Giants and won the series. What do you make of the fact that they're losing games big, but then when they don't lose big, they're finding ways to win?
Yeah, I think that speaks to how solid the bullpen has been. Even after the departures of Helsley and the others that they traded away, I think you looked at that and said, okay, well, it's reasonable to think that could be a big struggle for the team. And I think that was something that some folks talked about as a reason. Maybe if you're not going to get a ton for Steven Matz, maybe you keep him around because you don't want the team to fall apart if all these young guys are here. But, that creates opportunity because the other guys, you look at what, like Matt Swanson's done, Riley O'Brien and all these guys, Jojo Romero in the closer's role, they've been really good when given the opportunity to have real high leverage innings. Some guys react well to that, some guys don't, but that's the point of a season like this, right? To try to figure out who can come up in those big moments. And the bullpen has been really good. They've done enough to score runs late, to scrap together runs late, to take advantage of opportunities, and this isn't a team right now that is good enough to be beating people by 8 to 10 runs on a regular basis. So they have to make sure when they get the opportunities in close games, they take advantage of that. And they've done a pretty good job of that lately.
Final thing for you. The Padres have won 3 of their last 10. The Mets have won 4 of their last 10. The closest teams in the wild card on the outside of the Giants and the Reds at 4 back, and then the Cardinals and Diamondbacks are 4.5 back. Is this going to be Cubs, Padres, Mets holding the wild cards, or are you leaving open the possibility that in the final 3 weeks of the season, there's one of these other teams that can go catch the Mets or the Padres?
Look, I think the Mets and the Padres the Mets are a better lineup. They're a better full team than a lot of the teams behind them. But again, it's about opportunity, right? There are so many times that the best team in baseball doesn't win the World Series, but they had an opportunity. They played well. And with the Mets struggling the way they have, you see the Giants were dead to rights not long ago. They go off and win, 10 of 11, 11 of 12 coming into the St. Louis series, and they got right back in that mix. And, they're leaving that door open a crack. So there are teams out there and fan bases that are kind of thinking, hey, maybe this is a possibility. And they're in position. When you're 3 or 4 games out in September, there's not much time, but it does allow for the opportunity to go on a 6-game winning streak. And things can turn around in the standings real quick if you start stringing those W's together.
Yeah, absolutely. He is Ryan Fagan. We always appreciate him taking some time with us. Follow him on Twitter at Ryan Fagan. Ryan, appreciate the time, and we'll do this again down the line.
Sounds good. Thanks, Matt.
Awesome. Very good. Ryan Fagan with us. And again, we appreciate his time. A couple more segments to go, and then we'll get out of here for Cardinals baseball. Our pregame tonight is set to begin in 19 minutes our show is going to wrap up Sports Open Line in 19 minutes at 7:40, and then we'll get going with Cardinals pregame at 7:45. Don't go anywhere. We roll on with more in just a moment right here on KMOX.
Charlie Brennan once again with Dr. Colleen Bosler at the Audiology Center. Dr. Bosler, is it possible we might say, oh, those kids are mumbling, when the problem really is our own inability to hear?
Exactly. Hearing is integral in everything that we do. It keeps us involved and embraced in life. Not hearing someone is never normal. Ringing in the ears is never normal. And when people have a hearing loss, oftentimes they complain that they can hear, but they cannot understand people. And avoiding getting a hearing aid can have long-term effects on the speech reception area of the brain. So what that means is if you test and treat the hearing loss early with a hearing aid, we can prevent a decline in the speech understanding that can happen if the hearing loss goes untreated.
The words of Dr. Colleen Bosler at the Audiology Center. 3 locations in St. Louis, 636-441-7470, the Audiology Center, STL.com.
This is an important notice to all U.S. taxpayers. The IRS is giving away billions of dollars in tax savings through a federal program called the Fresh Start Initiative to aid delinquent taxpayers. This initiative was established for anyone facing financial hardship and unable to pay their back taxes. Qualifying and enrolling in this program will stop all collections, settle your delinquent tax problem, and even reduce what you owe by thousands of dollars. Call the hotline at People's Tax Relief to see if you qualify and get this free information by dialing 800-810-3588. If you have unfiled tax returns or cannot afford to pay your personal or business back taxes, you can now get the help you need. One simple phone call can resolve your tax problem and save you thousands of dollars. To see if you qualify and to get this important free information, call 800-810-3588. 800-810-3588. 800-810-3588.
Frank, did you get the mail? Coupon, Medicare, AARP. Oh, wait, this one says open immediately. First one in the trash.
Every day we're bombarded with messages that we don't care about. Problem is, there might be an important message in there that affects you, like retirement. For example, on September 23rd and 25th, Steve All of the All Financial Group will be hosting a Taxes in Retirement seminar at Stone Summit. From the big beautiful bill to taxes on your Social Security, Steve will cover it. It's a complimentary event, but seating is limited, so reserve your seat today. Call 636-230-8824 or online at yourmoneymattersstl.com.
What about this coupon for a new lawn service? We live in a condo. So? On the 3rd floor. Mom always said I shouldn't have married you.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. Neither the firm nor its agents or representatives may give tax or legal advice. Individuals should consult a qualified professional or guidance before making any purchasing decisions.
You are a successful electrical contractor, but you plus a dedicated team supporting your project from day one? That's taking your productivity to the next level. And Graybar can help you get there. Your relationships plus our relationships. Your capabilities plus our job site services. Your challenges plus our technical specialists. You alone can get the job done. But you plus Graybar, that's smart business. Yep, Graybar does that.
This is Debbie Monterey, and I really want you to know about the trusted services that EverTrue Anywhere Care provides to older adults who want to age successfully at home. Formerly Lutheran Senior Services, their team of experts specializes in orthopedic care. They also have licensed nurses for in-home support and trained caregivers to help with household tasks like meal prep and medication reminders. Call 314-597-6498 to learn more or visit evertrueanywherecare.org. evertrueanywherecare.org.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. If you've been injured in a car accident, call America's largest injury law firm. For over 35 years, my mission has been to deliver more for our clients, to deliver more for you. If you or anyone in your family has been injured in a car accident, call us now, as the time to file a claim may be limited. Last year, more clients hired Morgan & Morgan than ever before, protecting America, fighting for you. Morgan & Morgan. Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
KMOX is everywhere. 1120 AM. Streaming live on the Odyssey app. And now at 104.1 FM.
It's a Graybar Sports Open Line right here on KMOX. My name is Matt Pauley. In about 20 minutes or so, we are going to get underway with Cardinals pregame here on your home for the Cardinals, 104.1 FM at KMOX. So the Garrett Hampson era of Cardinals baseball, if you want to call it that, it has come to an end. And there are times where there's some things that the Cardinals do that frustrate me a little bit. And the Hampson thing, like, he was never going to be a big-time contributor on this team. And I understand that essentially he was brought in not to play. He was brought in as a guy who could do some things. Yeah, he could go play whatever position you wanted to play defensively. He was a quick guy, so you could use him as a pinch runner. Like that was his role in his time with the Cardinals. He only appeared in 35 games. He only had 29 at bats. So he had less at bats than games that he appeared in, because he would go in, he would be a pinch runner and things like that. We saw him even pitch in a game, but his numbers were bad. His numbers just were not good. With the Cardinals in his 35 games, he was a 103 hitter. He was 3 of 29. Now, he's not a 103 hitter He just didn't really get an opportunity to get in there. But I think about this when it comes to him and when it comes to Ryan Vilade, who was with the Cardinals for a while. And this applies more to the Vilade situation than the Hampson situation, because essentially Hampson was brought in to be a veteran guy who was going to be at the end of the bench and not play very often. And if you ever needed his roster spot, you were going to be able to move on from him very quickly. And that's exactly what they've done now, because Alec Burleson is healthy, and it just made sense to go ahead and move on from Garrett Hampson. You're keeping an extra catcher now because you have Pozo and Pajes and Crooks all on the roster at the same time. That makes sense here at this moment. But in a season where it was being billed as a runway season, every single time somebody like a Garrett Hampson, or more so, again, earlier in the year, Ryan Vilade, got an opportunity, I did kind of think to myself, is there somebody else that could be getting this opportunity that would make more sense from a runway standpoint? And again, I'm not trying to relitigate the Vilade situation. That was the weird one, because there were times that Vilade was getting legitimate opportunities and Nolan Gorman was sitting on the bench, and you're just scratching your head going, what are they doing? It would be disingenuous for me to get really upset about Garrett Hampson getting 29 at bats over 35 games that he appeared in. That's not a lot of action, but it does kind of make you think about the way the roster has been managed this year, and have they been able to give the opportunities to the younger players that they've wanted to? Because I said this earlier, we're kind of done with that. We're done now. There's 18 games left in the season. There is absolutely nothing that any player can do over the final 18 games that's going to make me have a different opinion on them. That's too small of a sample size at this point. In what was a runway season, the runway's gone. There are things you want to see. You want to see Matthew Liberatore make it through the rest of the season, just where he can kind of go post to post. He had the one little speed bump, but finish out the season and go into the offseason. You want to continue to see somebody like a Michael McGreevy go out there and face big league hitting time after time, get his final 3 or 4 starts of the year. You want to see Nolan Gorman continue to play. Does he finish off the season strong? But whether Gorman finishes the season strong or not, that's not going to change my opinion on him. That's the main thing here. Nothing can really happen in 18 games that are really going to make me change the opinion. So we can now talk about this in the sense that it's over. Because if you go into the season saying it's a runway season and you want to find out about guys, and now if I'm going to sit here and tell you, okay, we're at a point now where I'm not going to see anything different in the final 18 games. Did the Cardinals really accomplish what they wanted to accomplish this year in giving those players the runway and finding out what they wanted to find out? And I think in some cases, yes. If you would have asked me this question a month and a half ago about Nolan Gorman, I may have said still to be determined. I think what we've seen from Gorman since June 1st is a really, really good indicator of who he can be. He has arguably been the third best hitter on the team since June 1st. Alec Burleson and Wilson Contreras have been better. And then after that, you have Gorman. Ivan Herrera is kind of in there as well, but Herrera went through a slump during that period. So that's what, for the entire season, Gorman hasn't been the third best hitter on the team. You definitely put Herrera in that group. But you definitely look at somebody like him, and obviously pitchers like Liberatore, they got runway, but a Jordan Walker, not so much. And I still think there's big questions. One more break, and then we're going to come back and wrap up this edition of the program. It's Gray Bar Sports Open Line on KMOX.
Actual price will depend on product and subscription plan. Featured products are compounded drug products, which the FDA does not approve or verify for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. See website for details, restrictions, and important safety information.
Want to boost in and out of the bedroom? Hims has you covered. Introducing a new 2-in-1 approach to level up your game. Tadalafil for better bedroom performance and zinc for testosterone support. Put it all together and you've got what you need to turn things all the way up. Getting started is simple. Just go to hims.com/joy to start your free online visit. Through Hims, you can access ED treatments, including pills, chews, and more, 100% online. No office visits, no pharmacy lines. Just fill out a simple intake form and a licensed medical provider will determine if treatment's right for you. If prescribed, it ships free and discreetly to your door. Find affordable treatment options at up to 95% less than brand names at hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy, HIMS.com/JOY.
Let me tell you about this new pretzel cheddar club. Hey, I'm Carlos.
And I'm Ebony. And a little thing we love about the Chick-fil-A Pretzel Cheddar Club
is the tangy Dijon with the pretzel bun. It takes it to a whole nother level.
It goes perfectly with the chicken and the cheddar cheese and the bacon.
Man, you know how much you love bacon. And I love the different varieties. Grilled, spicy, original. It gets you nice and excited for fall.
Order the Pretzel Cheddar Club with Cherry Berry and Sprite for a limited time on the Chick-fil-A app. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
There's nothing like when you get that part from eBay and it just fits. Yeah, the first time. So you can do less of this and get right back to more of this. At eBay, you'll find all the parts you need, guaranteed to fit, at prices you'll love. Sounds good, doesn't it? eBay, things people love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Hey, this is Debbie Monterey, and some of you may know that I moved my mother to St. Louis about a year ago because she's aging and I needed to help her with day-to-day things, including getting her estate planning together. I recently met with the folks at Jansky Law. Martin Jansky is an elder law attorney, and that's exactly what he does. Everything from your power of attorney to advanced estate planning, including probate. Maybe you have your estate documents completed, but a nursing home could be in the future for you or a loved one. Jansky Law can help with pre-crisis and nursing home planning as well. Martin Jansky has 30 years of experience, young or old, no matter what your age. If you love your family and want to make sure that your wishes happen or help them ensure theirs do, call Jansky Law at 314-881-6141 or online at janskylaw.com. That's with a J, Jansky law.com. Again, Jansky law.com. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisement.
Summer is here. Time to enjoy baseball, barbecues, and the shade of your trees. When it comes to tree care, call the certified arborist at Gamma Tree Experts. Hi, I'm Tim Gamma. Protect your valuable trees from storm damage or devastating insects such as the emerald ash borer. Knowledge and quality are hallmarks of our reputation. For pruning, spraying, fertilization, or removals, call Gamma Tree Experts today at 314-725-6159 or visit us at gammatree.com. Your trees deserve the best care.
In the fight against Alzheimer's, now matters more than ever because now we have new treatments that could change everything. This is Megan Lynch. Join me Saturday, October 25th at the Chesterfield Amphitheater for the St. Louis Walk to End Alzheimer's. It's the region's largest fundraiser to fight dementia and support those living with the disease because now is the time for action. You can join in the fight by registering for the walk at alz.org/walk. That's alz.org/walk.
Your home equity could vanish almost overnight, stolen by scammers who forge a deed and transfer it out of your name. The FBI calls it house stealing, and the worst part is you may not know it until it's too late. Find out if you're already a victim now at HomeTitleLock.com. Use promo code RADIO for a 30-day free trial, a title scan, and access to a title specialist, a $250 value. Go to HomeTitleLock.com now. Promo code RADIO.
Today, the Cards, the Mariners.
Cameron Total Access 745.
Cardinals Radio, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Welcome back to the Gray Bar Sports Open Line. Once again, Matt Pauley on KMOX.
Just a few minutes left here in the program. We'll go for 3 more minutes, and then we will take a quick break, and then we'll come back. And we'll be on the air with St. Louis Cardinals baseball as Ameren Total Access is going to get going at 7:45 tonight. It's the Cardinals and the Mariners opening up a 3-game series. I think I pause when I say this because I'll get accused of saying having a winning record is good enough. Having a winning record is not good enough. Last year, the Cardinals had a winning record. It was not good enough. But that doesn't mean that there isn't some value in being a winning club. It's okay to expect more out of the Cardinals. It's okay to expect them to be a playoff club, a division-winning team, a team that's built to go deep into the playoffs. It is okay to want and desire and expect all those things, and hopefully this organization is on a path where they are going to get there again. So that's the standard. But that doesn't mean that if you don't, that doesn't mean that finishing the season with a winning record has no value, even if the winning record doesn't include the team being in the playoffs. And I think there was value in the team having a winning season last year. And if they were to win more games than they lose between now and the rest of the season, I think there would be value in being a winning club. And I absolutely think there's value in a lot of these young players playing games that matter. Because as much as I might think that this team is not headed to the postseason, I would be shocked for this to be a postseason club. The door hasn't closed. And playing as many games as possible, as late into the season as possible, where that door does remain somewhat ajar, it's good to see what they can do with that. And they just got done with a good week where they took 4 out of 6, despite the fact that they were outscored. They are finding ways to win games. It is not going to be easy. So they are sitting right now with a 500 record, 72-72. And over their final 18 games of the year, they are going to play the toughest remaining strength of schedule, as the combined 556 winning percentage against their opponents is the best in terms of remaining schedules in baseball. They're going to play the Mariners for 3 games, the Brewers, who have the best record in baseball, for 6 games. They have 3 against the Reds, 3 against the Giants, and 3 against the Cubs. That's what's left in the season. So I would contend that at 72-72, if the Cardinals find a way to finish out the year with a winning record, even if that winning record does not result in a postseason berth, that's a pretty impressive final 3 weeks of the season when you've got those kind of opponents. And we'll see what they can do here against a very good Seattle team that certainly is. These games matter for the Mariners. They are still absolutely playing for something as they try to improve their playoff stock. That's it for this edition of a Gray Bar Sports Open Line. Thanks so much for being tuned in. Our coverage of Cardinals baseball begins in 5 minutes right here on KMOX.
Guys, Glover here for my friends at my favorite sports fantasy app.